bleed traffic light from my phone, so I can breathe as you will drown. Silence spreads the world around. I see fire come from below. I hear thunder crack on the road. Don't call me a liar. Look down the plateau, 'cause I see fire. This ain't where the legends come from. You know what a hero looks like. Pretty little flower, won't you sit back down and go play nice? So keep talking, keep laughing. One day you'll wish you had it. Other people on fire, fire. Maybe it's time they meet their dragon. If you're gonna hold me down, you're not gonna let me in into your castle walls. None of you can keep them. 'Cause if I gotta burn it all down, then we'll burn it all down. My oh my, look at who winds up bigger this time. And if I gotta break it all down, then let's break it all down. Bye, playing with fire, and we'll burn it all down. This is where the bruises come from. This is when the game gets ugly. These blood, sweat, tears keep running. Licking my plate 'cause I'm so hungry. Keep talking, keep laughing. One day you'll see what happens. Other people on fire, fire. It's about time they meet their dragon. If you're gonna hold me down, you're not gonna let me in into your castle walls. None of you can keep them. 'Cause if I gotta burn it all down, then we'll burn it all down. My oh my, look at who winds up bigger this time. And if I gotta break it all down, then let's break it all down. Bye, playing with fire, and we'll burn it all down. It starts right now. Baby, you're surrounded. Put your money where your mouth is. Bury your doubts under the ground. Then they're gonna watch you step over the ashes. Right now I'm taking my turn with the matches. 'Cause if I gotta burn it all down, then we'll burn it all down. My oh my, look at who winds up bigger this time. And if I gotta break it all down, then let's break it all down. Playing with fire, and we'll burn it all down.
Hey, bitch, we got a service. G Smith, Ryan, we be swerving. Top toe pack, we be burning. Yeah. Hey, bitch, I got the pack, you know I'm serving. Pulled up in your city, know I'm swerving. Pussy nigga talking like he get it, what he earning. Big bag, body bag, bitch, I leave you burning. $30,000 gonna get a nigga murk. Running through the money, bitch, I'll put you on a shirt. Big body bag, bitch, I'll put you on a map. Nigga talking, all that nigga ain't been coming back. I've been getting money, niggas throwing through the cash. While they talk about it, nigga got a mattress with the stash. $100,000, I'ma put that on your ass. Smoking nigga like you grass, hit that nigga in some ashes. Bitch, I got the classes. I've been wearing Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada, Cartier in my glasses. Niggas talking like they get it, they ain't got no class though. I've been running straight up through the money, grabbing rags though. They don't wanna see a nigga win, no, they been hating, bro. I've been getting money, why these pussy niggas waiting though? Fake nigga, you just dab, you be in the lane, nigga. Drop down, nigga. We ain't never played on stage. Sing it.
Man, my gun been spending too much time around Billy and Mandy. Grim Reaper, street sweeper, keep that Glock handy. Jamaican team, it's a shotter, do that job dandy. I'm a sicko though in savage mode, they mistaking me for Randy. Shit never sweet, spend my allowance on bullets instead of candy. Niggas pay me to allow them to breathe where they standing. Ain't nobody replacing me, there ain't no standing. These niggas can't stand it, that's why they tryna up and grab the cannon. Oh well, that shit won't fare well. Sayonara, farewell. A first class ride to hell. He said he coming for my head.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand finals of RBT6 right here on Cripe's stream. We have gone from 72 teams down to the final 2 left standing in this entire tournament, and we, as you can see, are already live with the map ban for what is going to be a home and away match between teams Where the Fuck is Spongy and Coreagaming. This is one of the parts of RBT that I think I love the most when we get to the end of a tournament exactly like this and we're able to see the 2 best teams in the tournament basically decide who's the best team in International Left 4 Dead 2 right now. That's the way I see it whenever it's a tournament of this size, and to have gone all the way from those original 72 teams down to this is a pretty exciting adventure, to say the least. So at this moment, we are already seeing both teams ban, honestly, most of the normal maps that you would see. So the strategy for each side in this is going to be super duper interesting. I am Real Barlow, your caster for this match so far. I'm going to be joined by Ellio very soon here on Cripe's channel, and we are going to see exactly what these teams choose to do. And so far, from what we're seeing, we've got Hard Rain Downpour gone, Parish gone, Pacifice gone, Carney Remix gone, regular Dark Carnival gone, and now Dead Before Dawn gone as well. But when you're playing against a team like Team where they have Spongy, and we'll call them that for professionalism's sake, I suppose, as we're moving along here. When you're playing against them, though, you really need to have some kind of, I don't know, some kind of way to pick the absolute best map you can get, because as we've seen throughout this entire tournament, on their EU server, Team Where the Fuck is Spongy is, what is professionalism? Team Where the Fuck is Spongy is very, very hard to beat, to say the least, on that server. We saw them put on an absolutely amazing performance against Team Catjam in that match on Pacifice, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Pacifice gone, and indeed it is now, by Coreagaming. So we're getting down to some of the more interesting maps, I would say, for a home and away series like this, because Death Toll home and away would be wild, Detour Ahead would also be kind of nuts, and Die Scraper Redux, of course, that would be the shortest possible option. But for Coreagaming, like I mentioned, they're going to be choosing whatever scenario they think gives them the absolute best shot on both those servers. And these two teams, you know, throughout the tournament, Coreagaming has played exceptionally well, especially on the special infected side of things. From what I remember, that match that they played against Team Aquilix, I believe it was, in one of the elimination matches recently, that was basically something to behold on the special infected side of things. And now they're actually going to be banning Carried off from the map pool too. So we're down to, let's see, of these, if you had to ask me, I'm always a huge fan of Death Toll, and I think Coreagaming might be trying to vie for Death Toll that way, because listen, if the grand finals of RBT6 turns out to be Death Toll, I'm going to be so happy, because that is one of my favorite maps in all of Left 4 Dead 2 as well. So let's see exactly what they're able to do, and I do believe we're about to be joined by Elliot, so in one moment we will be able to talk with him as well about the strategies, and let's see. And that is the exact time that now Elliot is going to be joining us, as you might have seen. Elliot, you've heard me introduce things already. We have come all the way down to the grand finals of RBT6. And how are you today, sir? How do you feel about all this?
I am so excited. This is it, as you've said, the grand final. It's been, what has it been, like 3 months nearly? 12, 13 weeks of matches, practice, Swiss knockout, double elim. It's all come down to this, the final 2 teams, so I'm very hyped.
Yeah, and the thing is, as we mentioned before, you know, as a huge Death Toll fan, as just a map in Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2, honestly, I started playing with Left 4 Dead 2, so my approach to Death Toll is a little bit different, but if we have everything in this tournament basically on the line, in some ways when it comes down to a map like that, I would be absolutely just... I would be absolutely thrilled, because I don't know how you feel about Death Toll in today's game, but it's like, I think it's actually become more balanced as we've gone on as a community, and that's why you see it even being played now. You know, because there's so many elements to it that make it so interesting, especially with the hittables, and like that to me would be my ideal situation. And we're almost there, because Suicide Blitz, Hard Rain, Detour, and Death Toll still.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a viewer perspective, Death Toll has got to be one of the most exciting maps to see. We saw a fantastic close match between Coreagaming and what was the other team? Help me out here, Rails.
Team Impact.
Team Impact, that's right, on Death Toll 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. So, and that was very close, 5 maps on LA. So, I mean, Death Toll is always an exciting one for the viewers, as you said, with those hittables.
Exactly, and we're going to be seeing a home and away scenario here, so if Death Toll were to be played, it would be 1 through 4, and we actually are going to be seeing normal Hard Rain Vetoed as well, so it's down to Death Toll, Detour Ahead, and Suicide Blitz. I think...
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
So 2 customs and Death Toll, so it's not going to be a quote-unquote standard map.
Death Toll is already the last
basically
standard map standing. I'm so happy, just because it's like, that is... That to me, like I said, I've been a big fan of Death Toll for a long time, and I think playing it in today's game is so different compared to how it was like in the Pro Mod era. But I'm also a big fan. Like Suicide Blitz is also an extremely balanced campaign. So I'm a fan of that too. Oh,
and there goes Death Toll.
Okay, so it's gonna be a custom map finals. I'm still proud of Death Toll for making it past Hard Rain Parish and Dark Carney.
Detour Ahead or Suicide Blitz.
Wow.
2 customs in the grand final. I haven't seen customs in the grand final for quite some time, it feels like.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the one that was usually seen as the standard for that was basically Dead Before Dawn for a lot of the semis. Or like, I remember in the grand finals of the, what was it? The grand finals of the Bleed Out tourney that way. I think that was one of the, I think that was the winners bracket.
I think it was the
finals.
United Nations tournament.
That one too. Yeah, it's been used a couple times that way, because I remember casting the Team Serenity versus HCP game on that back in the day, but for RBT6...
Oh, that's way back in the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the first time that I remember it being used in any kind of grand final settings, but between Detour and Suicide Blitz, this is a choice for Coreagaming right here as well, as to which one they want to veto, I suppose. But, I mean, Detour is also a classic map, but the last time I remember that being used in the semis or grand finals of anything is all the way back in like Watch Left 4 Dead in like 2014. Like that's what comes back to me first when I think of that, but it's been used in other tournaments obviously since then. It's just, when you get down to a match that has this much pressure on it, Detour can be... I would like to see it on Detour, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, between Detour and Suicide Blitz, both are 2 of the best custom maps that I think we could possibly have. But
Yeah, a fun fact for you and our viewers, Rails. 4ZE, Jinman Park on Coreagaming, the team captain for Coreagaming, actually subbed for my team in a currently Luo Shen tournament last night, and we played on Detour Ahead.
All right,
so
what
they've
was your
actually
impression
played
of it?
Detour very recently. I quite like the map. I think it's a good map, and I think that if Coreagaming wanted to play, is it? It is.
Yeah, there it is.
We're
going to Detour Ahead.
There we go. So,
wow.
4ZE is going to have 2 matches on Detour Ahead 2 nights in a row. That's fantastic.
Well, hey, and the thing is, you heard me say it, I think, a little bit in the introduction that way too, but when you're playing against specifically team Where the Fuck is Spongy, and you can call them a bunch of different names. It's that, it's Rehab, they were pub stars back in the day, it's Frag 4. You know, you need to give yourself the absolute, best chance that you've got, and I think on a non-stock map, right, when it comes down to Detour Ahead, when it is a custom, I think if you're the underdog in this position, which I think everybody can agree, by no fault of their own, that Coreagaming is, right, because of the team that they're up against, you gotta give yourself
I think everyone's the underdog against WTF is Spongy.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So I think Detour might actually give them the closest to the best chance that they can get to actually do this,
I'm excited. I am very excited. So, Rails, I believe this is the case, and you may have already mentioned it, and if so, I do apologize, but this match is going to be for the bracket reset. So if Coreagaming were to win, that would mean that next week there would be another match between these two teams. Coreagaming, of course, coming through the loser bracket. Yeah. You can think of it as a best of 3 with WTF is Spongy having a 1-0 lead heading into this match.
Exactly. And it's like, when you get into a situation where you know it's going to be a bracket reset, you can't even think about the next game, because the first thing is just, all right, we got to win this right here, right now. It's home and away.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Have to maximize too, you know what I'm saying? But the big question will be is how well can Coreagaming do what Frag 4 does on their home server on the home server for Coreagaming? You know what I mean? Because they're gonna have to match whatever performance Frag 4 comes at. Frag 4, Where the Fuck is Spongy comes out with it. You're gonna hear me make that mistake.
It's gonna be Frag 4 a lot, yeah. And that's exactly what. So we had a fantastic home and away between these two teams. I had the privilege of casting that one a few weeks ago on Dark Carnival when they met earlier in the double alien bracket, and very close game, but ultimately what it did come down to was WTF is Spongy just performed that little bit better on the home server Survivor. And I think that is what it'll come down to again in this match. Both of these teams are fantastic. I'm expecting the home server Infected is going to be very strong. The only potential separator I could see is, can Coreagaming get that 50, 60, even 70% health bonus on the home server that they would need to try and match WTF is Spongy? Because I mean, WTF is Spongy on green ping, they're just terrifying. There's no doubt about it.
That's the point, exactly. Yeah, so it's like wow, when that happens, any special infected team, you have the chance of playing perfectly on SI in terms of your synchronization, in terms of how you commit your tanks, in terms of do you play the meta, do you do this, that, or the other thing. But when you have a survivor team that's that strong on the home server, even if you do everything correct, sometimes the special infected, you're still gonna get shut down depending on how they are able to move, right? So it's gonna come down to, can Coreagaming absolutely maximize their tanks, and then they really can't bank on, and maybe they'll prove us wrong, because their special infected, Ellio, like we said in that game versus Team Impact, was also completely, I know it was against Team Impact and then also against Team Aquilix, right? And it's
also against Aquilix and against WTF is Spongy. In the previous home away in Dark Carnival. I mean, their infected is great. It's the question that I have is, are they going to be able to perform on that green ping Survivor? They're very good at it, don't get me wrong, but they're going to need to be making 50, 60, 70% health bonus, I think, on some of these maps.
I'm just quick asking if we're going to be going to EU or Korea first. And once we know that, I don't know, in this situation, if I'm Coreagaming, I don't know what you think about Ellio, but I almost want to do the EU server first and then come back to the home server that way to get the, I don't know if you want to do the same thing, but I'm thinking in my head, right, because playing on the EU server for Coreagaming is more difficult, you do that first, and then if you are able to do anything on SI that way, because that's probably their strongest point, then you bring it back to the Korean server and try to maximize there. But I think there's a bunch of different ways to look at the strategy, right?
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons of playing home server or away server first. I think generally speaking, most teams would choose to play the away server first. There is, arguably slightly less pressure, particularly on Survivor, on the away server. You can treat it a little bit like a warm up. You get to, run through the map. You'll figure out all of the tank spawns, the sort of nuances of that, how each tank is going to play out on the away server, and then coming into the home server, you'll arguably be more set up and prepared. The other side of that is if you play on your home server first and you have a really fantastic start, you can kind of get into the heads of the opponent as they head into their home server.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely pros and cons of both.
Right, and I will hopefully we'll see an answer to exactly where we're heading in 1 second. But thank you everybody who has been joining this and watching this tournament the entire time. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, I think, Ellio, but coming from 72 teams down to the final 2 like this, it's been an absolute journey for both of these teams. Obviously, Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY, even though SPONGY hasn't been on that team, they kept a very similar roster with a couple alterations, right, to the team that they've been running for a while. But if you're looking for what has been the best of Left 4 Dead 2 in general, I think we need to look no further than what's about to happen here.
Yeah, I mean these are the 2 teams that have made it. As you said, 72 teams have signed up. These are the 2 remaining. They're the 2 best teams in the world right now. I don't think anyone will argue with that, and I'm just really excited to see how this match plays out.
Exactly. Let's see because I'm trying to join off of Dusty right now.
I believe we are going to be going to the Korean server first.
Okay,
oh, you think
okay.
EU? Oh, I could be wrong.
No. I did the view game info and saw Dusty playing on and saw him playing on a German server that way. So it's like I don't know if we're going EU or if we're going to be going to Korea that way. But especially with Detour Ahead, right? The biggest thing about Detour Ahead is if either team, for whatever reason, gets wiped on map 1, like by the tank that happens in the safe room, or if the tank like brings a car. Mm-hmm. That's when you can actually get a really large score delta. And obviously when you're home and away, you're expecting the home team to try to blow out the other team as much as possible, but it can be really unforgiving if you fall behind. It's a high scoring campaign overall most of the time, Yeah,
it is a high scoring campaign, and a couple of the tanks, I'm thinking about the early tank on map 1, as you said, the early tank on map 2 as well comes to mind, can be very difficult against a high ping team. Long arms are particularly strong because these tanks are played in close quarters. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the Green Ping Survivor, we're going to need, and I suspect we will, see some very strong Survivor play.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so from your impression of playing this last night, as you mentioned, right, what was the deciding factor like in the entire game? If you had to pick like a map, what do you think is the most important chapter for teams to focus on?
Oh, I think in a home and away, the most important map for me is going to be map 4. It's arguably the slowest paced map. Very commonly the map 4 tank will get AI'd. That is just the meta. And that means, of course, with an AI tank that generally will get very few, if any, punches, the survivors, particularly on low ping, can make massive bonuses on map 4. I think the map in total, if you include distance and bonus, is worth over 2,000 points. So if one team has, a really good home server map 4, which is very possible with an AI tank, and the other team maybe doesn't have such a good home server map 4, that right there could be 1 or 1,000 points or even 1,500 points delta right there.
Yeah, exactly. And when the finale used to be played, and since we're doing home and away, we're not playing it this time, but I remember back like that finale, that's one where you can see teams score 2,000 points like in an individual chapter too, right? And there are a couple maps where it can get to that point, but like you just said, if you get into those wild situations, I might be double bound too, let's see. Oh, no, I'm good. But the thing is, with this tank here, 51%, like I could see either team making this with their survivor play. Like that's what I'm thinking about. Like this could be just a hugely scoring match on both servers. And I'm actually looking around too, because I'm not 100% sure what the exact changes in this version of Zone Mod have been, but we're on the Korean server first, and then we'll be moving, I think, to EU. And I'm just looking around the map, and I see 2 hittables over there with the alarm car. I think that's normal.
I think it's all standard. I think the Korean server just has a nice little plugin so you can see where the hittables spawn from spectator.
Yeah.
Fairly sure there hasn't been certainly any major map.
Yeah, I mean, and this tank fight at 51%, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Team Frag4 take that back to the safe room. Can never 100% tell exactly what it's going to be, but when we look at these pings, this is the other thing, because obviously, Elliot, there was an option to choose between a neutral server when that was the best thing to do, and also a home and away scenario, and I was literally choking on Arwolf's ping because it's 293 right now.
Yeah. So that was, we saw this in the previous home and away between these two teams. 300 ping is going to be the away server survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is going to be largely a matter of distance. Realistically, it's going to be incredibly difficult for either team to make any reasonable bonus. Maybe on map 1. And maybe on map 2, but I think maps 3 and maps 4 are just simply too long. There are just going to be too many hits for a 300 ping survivor team to make it with any bonus. So it is going to come down to, as I keep saying, it'll sound like a broken record, it is going to come down to the home server survivor. How much bonus can these teams get?
Wild that we were talking about how Detour Head was being used or not as well, because I believe in RBT5, when Team Aquilix played against Team Frag4 deep in that bracket, or they were Team Rehab at that time, they did play a match on Dead Before Dawn, and the reason that I'm reminded of that now is that I'm taking a look at where the fuck is SPONGY's ping, and it's pretty comparable to that. Because when they play on OS, it'd be a little bit higher, right? Like running into the 315, 313, like those kind of ranges. But when it gets this high, things are already going to be super wonky. So, and now actually, Thanatos, aka Soul's ping is hitting the 300 range.
Yeah, I think these pings are basically the same as what they would get on an odd server. Maybe, 5 or 10 less, but functionally very, very similar.
Yeah,
there is the question of Dusty, and I do wonder from your perspective, is this an advantage or a disadvantage in the home and away? Dusty, of course, is from North America. All the other players on WTF SPONGY is EU, so that means he is going to get less ping on the Korean server than his teammates. He will get more ping on the EU server. He'll get about 100 on the EU server. Do you think that is an advantage, having one player get slightly less? He's going to get about 200 versus the 300.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, though, is the as Soul is obviously asking if we need 3 streams, we're going to have multi-language stream through. Of course, this is the English language stream. I believe there's going to be a Spanish language cast and a Chinese language cast, if I'm not mistaken. So this is really, really cool to see as well, because for the grand finals specifically, right? This is like, I'm gonna, okay, that would work too. Yeah, he's gonna transmit the match via Discord to the casters to avoid issues. Thank you for that, Sushi. Yes, because obviously people are most concerned about the they're most concerned about the weight on the server, right?
Yeah, server performance.
Yeah, and that's actually super important though, because it's like, I was thinking to myself, on a 1-game scenario, if I'm playing against anybody on LA, right, that's when Dusty's ping would be a big issue, but he's pinging 200 here, and then on EU, he's also going to ping with, what, like, Orange, probably like...
It'll be about 100.
Yeah. And when that happens, like, that still gives, like, technically, because he doesn't have, like, a quote-unquote true home server like that, that would be an issue for a team other than where the fuck is SPONGY, I think, just because of their experience. But I was gonna say, like, when you have ping this high, how do you play Survivor best, do you think? Tough. It's tough, right?
I don't think I'm nearly a good enough player to give a good answer to that question. My instinct in this ping is you just want to move fast. It's not really feasible to say, we can shut down hits, we can avoid damage. Certainly if there's a big choke coming up and you're going to want to try and bait it as much as you can, but I think the way you do well, quote unquote, on 300 ping is you just don't attack a lot. You just go fast and you take as few hits as you possibly can.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing though, where if I'm remembering correctly, like, you want to keep your playstyle maybe as static as possible without any other, without any other memery going on, right? When it comes to, like, okay, we're going to try to hold W, but there's so many ways to try to deal with the ping that way, and depending on the speed of both sides, I want to see how they play when they're playing on high ping in this environment, because it would be really interesting to see, like, a difference in approach between the go fast because our ping is high, or try to wait the entire time because we need to be careful because our ping is that high, right? So I want to see exactly how the teams make those kind of variations in their play style, because from what we've seen on their home server, we know what Team Frag4 is going to do in terms of the shoddy shutdown power. But on this ping here, this is where it really, really counts for Coreagaming somehow to bring it back all the way they can, right? And I think they can actually do that, because if they can get... I don't know what lead is quote-unquote safe when it comes to playing against Team Where the Fuck is Spongy on their home server, but if they if they can bring the balance back to around, like, I don't know, if they can get like a 2 or 2.5k lead, that would not be safe. But we're going to stop speculating and see exactly what's going to happen now, because this is the grand finals of RBT6 right here on Courage's stream. As we mentioned, Ellio's joining me for this cast. It is Team Where the Fuck is Spongy on Survivor side on this Korean server first, and Team Coreagaming on the Special Infected. First hit going in from the top of the bridge. It's going to be near double cap with a DP. Pound spit, boom, and a smoke all going down onto Wrist Burner before we're even able to get those roster rundowns. That's a decent attack. And for the grand finals on Survivor side, we have the tournament's best squad so far from what we can see. That's going to be Team Where the Fuck is Spongy with Dave, Arwolf, Dusty, and Wrist Burner. And for Team Coreagaming, who have made it here equally as well, who do we have, Elliot?
We have 4ZE team captain, aka Jinman Park. We have Prove, Razor, and Kane. A very solid roster who will be starting off on the green ping in this map 1, server 1.
Exactly, and so we have a tank at 51%. We have another hit that's already prepared with these rocket spawns on top. It's going to be a Charger Jockey Hunter and a Spitter for Team Coreagaming, as the jockey's going to spawn and make noise in front. And so far, it has been a slow play from Team Where the Fuck is Spongy. As this hit goes in, that Charger almost landed with that jockey going in the front, but look at the damage already, Elliot.
That is huge damage, actually. The Hunter did get skeeted by Brian on 300 ping. Well done. Charger miss. It was only the jockey landing, but then the free spit. I think the survivors running through the spit to clear, I think Brian, who got jockeyed at the front, and ended up still being a lot of damage. That is just it. That is just what happens when you play on this sort of ping.
I was going to say, because it's so sloppy on Survivor side, by no fault of the Survivor's own, when you have ping that high, things just happen that would not if the ping were lower. It is as simple as that, and so far, it has been a good showing from Coreagaming, taking advantage of that situation, and the tank is now up, the first tank of the game, into the hands of... That is actually Proof this time, right?
It is actually Proof, yes.
Awesome. Hunter goes 17 DP onto Nick. They were hitting as they were going back as well, so Proof has the actual tank. We had an actual DP go out there, and we had that jockey land for just a bit of damage, but look at how
and there is a boomer.
Him. There is a boomer as well, and he's actually not trying to bring the hittable in whatsoever. The one boom goes out onto Rochelle.
Just
the
one boom.
Tank is still down below instead of climbing up, maybe because he's trying to keep sight for this a bit, but he's not bringing the hittable Elliot, so he's either going for a rock tank or he's going to commit from above him, one of the two.
I think he's probably going to have to commit this one, Rails. I don't think he would have had time to get the hittable all the way in if the survivors ran back, because he's nearly gone second as is, so I think Proof is going to have to commit pretty soon.
Yeah,
he's just gone second now.
If he were getting the hittable, he would have had to do it absolutely perfectly. Because I've actually had that happen to me before in a match where the tank gets it and it's like, oh man, it sucks for the survivor.
He is gonna rock.
Yep, rock goes in, and that's going to be a pause because we have our first crash of the game, unfortunately. Wrist Burner, aka Brian, disconnecting. And the thing about this spot, Elliot, is that with that hittable working in or not, right? Like, if you're going to commit to the hittable, that way the tank most likely is going to have to commit with, like, maybe... like 30%, 25% on second pass if he hits the car correctly. But now, because the survivors are already bleeding and he has the height advantage, for them to LOS him, they're either going to have to go behind that foliage right now where the survivor is being pulled, or they're going to have to go underneath him. And if you have a tank that can curve rock whatsoever, then this could be a pretty brutal situation if he can play that second pass rock effectively enough. That jockey's still going too. That's a decent amount of damage onto Rochelle. Rock is going to land, and this is what I was talking about, Elliot, because look at the tank's position that he has here, right?
Yeah, another rock comes in, does get skated this time. So you, I don't know if you saw the VOD from the last match between these two teams in the home and the away. It was on Dark Carnival, but Team Coreagaming played 3 rock tanks. Oh, and that is another rock on the day.
That's what I'm talking about. And he's content to do this all day because they can do enough damage with their SI hits outside of this to where he can play it and bleed them this way. And he's going to curve directly under that bridge when this hit goes in, or he's going to have to commit like right now. But from how he's rotating, I think he wants to keep playing rock as much as possible.
I think he does.
Charger is not going to go in. Boomer jumps in, gets a single boom as the Hunter also lands. This is going to be a guaranteed
He needs to land a rock. Oh, he doesn't. 35%?
And my game.
Well, but look at their health. Even if he peeks this for chip the entire time,
Nice.
there's the rock on to Dave. They are going to potentially die here, and he's going to be content playing this rock tank. And this is something you would only see, I think, from a team that is as well coordinating as Coreagaming or Team Where the Fuck is Spongy. But so far, Coreagaming are playing this so amazingly with this tank, knowing that the goal is not to commit. The goal is to make them bleed and do as much damage as possible, because on that high latency, they're going to try to punish that as much as possible. Rock tanks on 300 ping are the worst thing in the world. Rock is going to be going in here again, going to get skeeted that time. Boomer lands a double boom with a jock and a smoke, briefly landing for a rolling double cap as the rock is going to go in. That's going to be another pull going on to Dave, but this is the thing. Where do they LOS him here? That's the question.
And they really can't. I think you're right. There is no good spot to LOS, especially on ping. All they can do is try and basically kill the tank. He's down to 3k.
Doesn't care. That's why he's just standing there, right? He's taking all this chip because they're bleeding. They're gonna have people slow, and they're going to absolutely die. And at this point, I don't think they're guaranteed to get any more distance points than what they already have. So an immaculate special infected round so far on the Herm server. First map by
he does need to land this rock. Actually, no, he's gonna drop.
Yeah, he's gonna drop, and then he's gonna just let the SI do more damage, because there's a double boom and a charge. Quad boom landing with that single charge, and he can literally keep sight from the ground at this point.
There it is, another rock onto Dave.
Yeah, this is brutal. This is absolutely brutal by Coreagaming so far, and it's amazing to watch, because I mean, committing in this area, especially when the survivors have this much space, is super duper hard to do, but he still has 1k HP, and now he's directly above them, Elliot. He can do this literally as long as he's alive.
Yep, Dave is 1 HP. Brian eats a rock as well.
This is literally like
there's so many commons still.
Exactly, there's another rock.
Another rock.
It's
all over.
It's all over for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy on this map to start. There's a rock landing on the
Dusty's
Dusty
down.
2. Prove is committing now.
Prove is in.
This is the wipe going out with the Hunter and the Jockey landing. That is the kind of special infected play that's gotten them here. Elliot, they could not have done this any better to start.
Really nice start there from Coreagaming front as well.
This is literally like
so many commons still.
Exactly, there's another rock.
It's all over.
It's all over for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy on this map to start. There's a rock landing on the Dusty 2. Prove is committing now.
Prove is in.
The wipe going out with the Hunter and the Jock.
Very good start there. And I think we're going to see more of it. I think we're going to see more rock tanks for these remaining maps on the home server.
For sure. And let's see exactly how this goes now, because Team Coreagaming are on that survivor side for the second half of this first map, and now here's the other part of the equation. They are going to have a smoker pull going out with a pounce leading into that. Boomer is going to get a proxy stumble too with that damage going on to 4ZE. What I was going to say, however, though, is that now they need to play very cleanly on survivor side. They have the best ping they possibly could get for it, but now that they have this opportunity, this is where they need to shut down this tank literally as much as possible, right? And this is where they really can't afford, you know, anything stupid to happen with a hittable. They can't afford to get like a huge boom and then a tank with 300 ping arms to commit on them that way. They need to use what's working for them to their advantage, and so far, you know, it'll be hard to tell exactly how they do on survivor side, because there are only 2 hits before this tank. This tank's going to be what makes or breaks this round, and it could really put them in the position to where they could be leading this by a massive amount going into map 2. We shall see, however, because we have a quad up now for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, Jockey, Smoker, Charger, Hunter, getting ready to go in. Hunter goes in from the back. Charger is going to whiff as the Jockey lands for a split second and then is going to die. Smoker really not able to get a whole lot, and I don't know, Elliot, playing SI on ping this high as well really does turn things into a PowerPoint presentation sometimes.
Oh, I don't know if you've tried to play Charger on 300 ping recently. It's borderline impossible. Unless the survivor is literally standing still, it is so difficult to land.
Right, and I think that's why you saw that Charger kind of just one click from the roof there and hope that it connects with something. But this is going to be the first tank for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy in the hands of Risk Burner for Team, for the team that really needs to try to make something happen here with this SI situation. And he is going to be going not for the car, it would seem. He's just going to be working his way in. Boomer dies. Hunter going for a DP. Nothing yet, and is going to get blown out of the sky there by Prove. You know, this might be some of the pressure that we see a goodbye happening there from the from Kreischer to the spectators. What I was saying, this is going to be a decent amount of pressure, though, on a Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, maybe in a way that they haven't seen quite so far in this tourney, because they've done so well. But at the same point, he's now going to have to commit with no car. He's not going for the rock tank, and Coreagaming have actually played forward here, Elliot, to prevent him from getting up there without taking at least some kind of chip.
Yeah, that's some good aggression from Coreagaming, and as a result, Brian is going to have to commit this tank. He might be AI.
Oh
If the
yeah,
survivors are hiding,
he has to be
35?
super careful. He has to be super careful because there is
Ooh.
a fog here that would
Yeah,
have
there
locked
is a
them.
fog.
But
He
he's
just
going.
gets it.
He's going to be going in with this, and he's going to be pushing right to the survivors, splitting them that way. Tank is pushing after Ellis, who
Kane
wasn't
misses
able
the
to
jump.
He wasn't able to jump, and now he's going
He
to
gets it
juke
the
the
second
other
time.
way. Jockey and Charger
Double
both going
punch!
in.
The
Double
miners
punch
are both
does
whipped
land.
into him!
Oh, this is bad. The Charger's going to land as well.
Charge!
Charger gets cleared. Jockey is going to land for a split second. That's one in cap onto
It's
Razor.
another punch.
Another punch about to go onto
another
Ellis as well. Brian doing an amazing amount of work with this tank. And one more punch landing. Yo. When he committed that, he was down to the point that we thought he actually might be AI, but instead, that was one of the best tanks I think they possibly could have had given those circumstances, because that split that he got there, Ellio, where he pushed the survivors towards the Jockey and Charger, right, and that is exactly what you need to do in that situation, and that's not a ping thing, that's a mentality, that's a gameplay thing to actually get that separation, and it's still got a tremendous amount of damage.
I mean, I don't know if you heard the octave that my voice just got to there. 9 punches. I mean, fantastic tank from Wristburner, not to take anything away from it. But Coreagaming, I mean, they just walked into so many punches. Almost for free.
Yeah, well, and that's something where Kane missing that original jump over the log that's, like, lying there is kind of what started that. But at this point, it's like, I don't know. That's something where they need to maximize better with that. My ping, for some reason, is spiking to like 1,000 on the server, and I think that actually might be because the server itself is having a moment.
Oh, yeah. Dave's ping is 700.
Yeah, I've got my tab net graph showing 1,137 for me, and so I think that's going to be. I don't think it's a spec issue. I think it actually might be. I don't know if it's a DOS or exactly what it is, but I don't think that has to do with spectators. Would have something to do with the tick rate being what it is. The ping spiking to that level usually indicates something else with the network that way. But from what I can see on NetGraph, we are dropping back down. I went all the way from 1,100 back down to the low ping of 330. Elliot.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I don't think having a lot of spectators in here should cause a ping problem. If anything, it'll cause a tick rate issue. This could be a little bit of a DDoS.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it would not be the first time that we've seen a situation like that occur. But we are going to limit slots the best that we can as we're now moving forward. Next round, we will limit it that way, and that should be good. This is going to be Coreagaming now, trying to continue what momentum they do have. And I agree with you, though, where in that situation, in that tank fight, like, they could have taken that a lot more cleanly, and it comes down to the positioning, right? And that Charger's going to land as we say that, and this Spit's going to go down as well. The SI, so far from Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, proving exactly why they're in this position. They are just trying to mitigate the damage at this point, and they're doing a good job of it.
Maximize the damage, in fact. And, yeah, as you said, they're doing a fantastic job of it. This is... I mean, Coreagaming, I still got about 2 more hits left. They've only got, I mean, I say only, for a home ping game, only about 450 bonus. Really isn't that good, I would say. They took so much damage on that tank.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at there, where they knew that them wiping was bad, but because they've done such damage on the SI side, they've minimized the damage for them as a team and maximized the damage that they pushed out onto Coreagaming, exactly.
Yeah,
but I think you're exactly right, yeah.
Kane is slow, and they have no more pills. This could be maybe even 3 more hits. Probably not, but maybe 3 more hits if they get an in-cap or if they land a good boom.
Yeah. And Kane, as you can see here, because he is slow, he's staying all the way away from that death charge potential, but now Team Where the Fuck is Spongy are going to have to decide whether they want to send this or wait. They're going to go with the rocket charge. Going to land
again?
Yo, these chargers landing on 300 ping. This is an example where... an example where you have to say they're making it look easy, but with the Chargers landing the way they are, that's 2 Chargers in a row with Spit. And the Jockey's going to be going into what an M2, though, coming out by 4ZE. That was very close, but Elliot managing to land Chargers consistently on 300 ping is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic from WTF is Spongy, but you can't be eating these charges on green ping if you're Coreagaming.
Right.
332 bonus.
Yeah, this is going to be a boomer going for some kind of arc from the roof. The Charger this time, though, is not going to be able to land. Double boom is going to go out. Smoker's trying to pull. Hunter coming from the front, too, going to get shut down. There's the Smoker pull, though, going out onto Kane for a couple of ticks more damage, but so far, so decent, I would say, in terms of preventing the worst by Team Where the Fuck is Spongy. Conversely, though, we've also got an 828 to 207 point lead in favor of Coreagaming, so they've got a lead now, and you might be saying, oh, well, it's 600 points, that's a lot, but they need to play a bit more cleanly, at least on Survivor side, both in terms of the tank and those charges. Instead, that was one of the best how powerful team where the fuck is SPONGY are on their home server. Like, they need to maximize better next map, I think is the takeaway.
Yeah, and I could see Twitch chat laughing at me for saying it's borderline impossible to land charges on 300 ping, and you know what? I will wear that. I can't land charges on 100 ping, let alone 300. So, I mean, WTF is SPONGY just giving us an absolute masterclass on Infected. I should have never doubted those charges landing back to back. It honestly looks like their Infected is on green ping.
Yeah, well, and that's the caveat, where for most teams, you're not able to do that, and to have that kind of smoothness to it, it's because of that timing and coordination either way. We are going to be live here, though, with the second map. This hit is getting shut down much better by Team Coreagaming on Survivor side. It's going to be a Dusty tank at 53% when the Survivors get there. And Elliot, this can be a very intriguing tank fight depending on where the Survivors go, but I think the meta is still for them to push back towards the safe room, even when the tank spawns at this percent.
Yeah, I think basically every tank on this map is played back in the safe room area. It's just too dangerous on this road with the hittables.
Yeah.
So
Also,
the Survivors almost certainly will run it back and probably play it inside the dino, in fact.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see that. We do have a quad attempt, though, coming in with that smoker pulling in the front, going to get cleared. Then the hunter is going to land onto Rochelle for a bit of damage, but this jockey and Charger
just walking it in.
They're absolutely nowhere close to being able to make that land. Charger is going to go for a punch as well. That jockey is the first thing that's actually connected for any kind of damage, I would say, really, so far. But 5-4-3 on the board, as Coreagaming have done a lot better handling these hits on this chapter. But that is a quick 51% tank spawn due to this event, and it's going to be up, as I mentioned, into the hands of Dusty, and the Survivors are going to be moving their way back to the safe room, as we kind of expected.
Yeah, Survivors going to run it all the way back.
Hits coming in. That's going to be the hunter trying to land a bit, but really no damage. This car, though, is flipping all the way through the sky with that boomer getting shut down. This is the one thing about the safe room where they decide to play either underneath the gas station or inside. That white van that you see is hittable as well, so the tank's going to be able to get all of his toys into play as that smoker dies. What do you think is the ideal situation here on SI, Elliot?
For SI, the ideal situation, I'd say for this tank, and probably for any tank in general, is you want to land a boom if you can. And a boom in this area, ooh, is that hittable? Hits the tree. A boom in this area is really brutal. The common often trickle in for a good long while. If you can force the Survivors to fight the tank... Oh my goodness, there's another car comes flying in. So if you can force the Survivors to fight the tank inside and there's common coming, you could do a lot of damage.
You really can. Dusty's going to be popping that van into the air, not going to make it work, and it looks as though the Survivors are content to stay outside, which means that he's going to be going for his hittables. As he's taking just about 800 chip, the white van goes flipping through the sky again. That thing is terrifying, as the tank is now going to be rotating towards his hatchback, bouncing that around, forcing the Survivors. The Survivors are now back inside as well, and they have a Jockey Charger Hunter to deal with from the SI support. Charger's going to go in early, though, looking for it. Tank is going to get a corner, however, onto Ellis, and there's the Hunter landing. Charger is going to whiff. Jockey is still jumping around as the tank is still getting this corner onto Kane, but that is going to potentially be all he's able to do as the support is dead. Rochelle is getting away from the tank. Tank is now going to be cornered, and that was a much cleaner take because they were able to shut down the SI the way they needed to. That Charger spawn forces Survivors out. Dusty's tank is going to die. 1 in cap, Elliot. That's what you want to see if you're rooting for Coreagaming.
Yeah, much better take. Charger got a few punches, but 1 in cap inside this area is not bad at all. Good shutdown on the Infected. It looked for a second like a 3 cap might be landing, but no, the Survivors, I think there was an M2 on the Jockey, and the Charger unfortunately did miss.
Yeah, and I think what the Survivor who was cutting the Charger did, that being Nick, he went into a place where that charge just was not able to fit through the doorway, which is a great way to juke that hit. Hunter's going to get speeded. Smoker is not going to land either, but now Ellis is trying to get away here, and he's not quite able to, so that'll be a little bit more damage, but this is what you want to see from the Survivor side of Coreagaming. We haven't talked about it quite yet, but the fact that Prove and Kane are playing together on this team as well, they have that experience playing against Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY in different forms on Team Envy too. So if there is one team now who really wants to bring this home, it's definitely Coreagaming for a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah, and this, I mean, map 1, I think it's safe to say, was not really good enough for the ping advantage they had, the bonus they made. This bonus here is much more like what they'd be hoping to get. So if they can hold on to it This event can go pretty quickly if the infected don't land big hits. Basically, only to take 3 more hits, I would say, if they move through this quickly, and they can be in the safe room.
Right, and this is the situation where they have to be super careful with the Horde. They can't afford to get just like randomly stumbled, charged, spat, pounced, and have something disgusting happening to their
Hunters in front.
And that's
Wall kick
exactly,
lands.
unfortunately, that's going to be the wall kick landing. Charger's going for it, but he's not going to land. He lands. That is an amazing escape by Kane, who was playing that position 1, and they cleared him so fast. If that Charger landed, they were going for the stack play of hitting the Hunter first, and then the Charger going in, but that Charger did not land, and they cleared the jockey before the Spit did any kind of damage. It's not going to be a very strong hit for the next attack either, I would say. They're going to have Boomer Smoker for this, and it's not a very favorable position for that, I'd say, for the Special Infected at this juncture.
And I think the survivors should be hitting the go-go button here. 1 boom lands, but there's no spitter.
Exactly.
Hunter is going to land.
This jockey is still playing as well.
Woo.
That is actually more damage off of that hit than what they got on the last, and albeit in a different form, but because there was no spit, there was no way to maximize it, and this is going to be Coreagaming now holding the W key. The Smoker is still up with Kane pushing the button. I don't think he actually has a charge that way, and Kane's trying his best to shoot him down, but he's not going to quite get that kill. The survivors now moving their way back together. This is going to be maybe only 2 more hits, but I think this is where now we're going to see Coreagaming just take it as slow as they need to, kill the Horde, while still trying to keep that momentum on their side, and maybe trying to force Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY to hit before this huge choke up ahead, which comes with this ladder and dropping into this room. But actually, we're going to see the SI save.
Yeah, the SI have decided they are just going to save. This will be the last hit, assuming no in-caps come out.
See if they're
Kane
able.
is bleeding, and the DB is open, so if I am the infected here, I'm trying to hit Kane. That would be, I think, the best way to reduce the bonus.
Absolutely, and they are going to put Kane next to that alarm card. He's now slow. Maybe they're content with him. You know, we call it the DB Dave strat in some ways for obvious reasons, but anyone who's playing that position 1 with Shoddy, they're content with getting the health bonus into the safe room, I think, especially when facing down a hit this strong. It's a Jockey, Charger, Spitter, and a Smoker, so no Hunter, but lots of stumble and damage potential. Everything dropping through the ceiling. Charger is going to land.
Another Charger landed.
The spit went early, and that's the pull going out onto Kane. That was the worst position I think we've seen for the survivors to be in from a regular hit this whole map, but because that spit was not able to land correctly with the charge, they kind of get saved a bit by that, and now this is what we were looking for in terms of bonus, Elliot. They're going to be making this map with a chapter score of 1,360 points.
Yeah, that's a much better bonus than we saw in map 1. They lost about 200 bonus after the tank. Not too much. I think they did get a little bit lucky there at the end. The Charger landed. The spit, as you said, kind of spat a bit early there. Maybe some miscommunication. Also spat on top of the crates, which I don't think it was possible for anyone to get capped on there. Now the question is how much, probably how much distance, but maybe how much bonus can WTF is SPONGY make on their Survivor round. With the way this map works, of course, the survivors are naturally going to make a fair amount of distance before they even spawn the tank, but then they will probably have to replay the entire map, assuming they run it back in the same way that Coreagaming did.
Well, and they're damned if they do, damned if they don't when it comes to that, honestly, because dealing with the hits, even on map 1 prior to the tank, they took a decent amount of damage, and it's just because, like we mentioned, this entire cast, and you're going to hear us say it on both servers because of the ping being that high. But they can't do strats like that where they can guarantee on just being able to take this hit easily, because any number of things can go completely wrong when they're making those kind of transitions. We'll see exactly how they do before they even spawn the tank. But I wouldn't be surprised with the way that Coreagaming has been playing on SI so far to see some massive damage even beforehand. And like I said, it's all about that maximizing the advantage when they have it. And I don't know if there's really any other way to kill the tank, though, in this map, aside from taking it back to the safe room, that makes any kind of, like, logical sense, you know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. Hunter's gonna get a wall kick, but the Survivor is on top of the counter, and actually a fair amount of spit damage. The Survivors kind of all ran out together there. An interesting strat for them to all just rush. I don't know if that's the best play, to all sort of hold hands when there's a spitter up in an enclosed area, but could have been worse.
Yeah, and maybe because it was a 2-2 in that way, and with one survivor standing on top of the counter, they figured they'd be alright, but that's the kind of damage that happens in a situation like this, where you get 26 spit damage even with one thing landing that wasn't even really the spit target. That's just kind of what happens, like, in a situation where, when you have that high latency, spit is absolutely just atrocious to try to understand,
it starts
right?
ticking on you before you can even move.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, alright, well, when that happens, you can only do so much. But this is going to be a spitter, a jockey, charger, and a hunter for this next hit from Coreagaming. Should be one more hit prior to the tank from what I'm seeing. Let's see where they're deciding to go. Looks like when the survivors get close to this semi, we'll see if that sends the hit. But I am thinking this could be a decent amount if this hunter lands. But there's the skeet going out by Dave. Charger's going for Coach in the back, not going to land. And Coach did a really good job, that being Dusty, of just backing up all the way to avoid the charge as it kind of slid up the side. There is the tank coming into play, though, for Team Coreagaming into the hands of Razor. Another player, like I said, both these squads are stacked with just some of the best talent in all of competitive Left 4 Dead 2, if not the outright best, and Razor is looking for this wipe. If he can get a wipe here, then we have a serious chance of Team Coreagaming, you know, pulling off what would be an amazing win. But it all depends on what happens really with these hittables, and if Team Frag 4 are able to shut down whatever hit they decide to commit with. I think they might even play it outside if they can, because inside might be ridiculous with this ping.
Yeah, I think they will definitely try to play it outside if at all possible. As I say that, they are running inside, so, you know, maybe they can hear me and they just want to make me look stupid. Not hard to do.
They baited the boomer enough. I think they're not really committed to one way or the other quite yet. But this boomer's going to go and he's going to try to land. It's not going to land because I think the window blocked some part of the vomit there. I'm not exactly sure how much. And maybe the thought process instead is because they're doing mostly shotties with this ping, staying inside they can clear. What I'm worried about inside, though, is if they don't get those shutdowns and some kind of quick multi-cap lands, it's going to be Hunter Jockey Charger most likely. If they can't get those shutdowns in this kind of close distance with the tank right there, the tank's going to have a real advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think the good news for WTF Spongy is there is going to be no boomer. Playing against Common on 300 ping is the worst thing in the world, bar nothing.
Yeah, and the tank
so they wanted to worry about that. Here comes the commit.
He's using that van as a shield, which is brilliant on its own, but he's going to miss that first punch onto Nick. In the corner, missing another punch onto Nick. That's going to be the first one landing. He only has 500 HP left, but then that's going to be a pounce and a jog landing at the same time. Tank is now hitting multi-punches on the survivors, and now that jockey is still there, and the tank is going to get another punch onto Wristburner, almost for the in-cap. He missed 2 punches. That's still so much damage, but that is not what Team Coreagaming were looking for with those 2 early missed punches, Elliot.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of salvaged it a little bit at the end there. Obviously, Dave couldn't have known the tank's health, but if he actually just left the Charger and the Hunter and shot the tank 2 more times, it would have been, I think, like a 1 or 2 punch tank. As you said, that's really not enough damage. For the survivors being on this ping, WTF Spongy is very happy with that take.
Exactly, and now these hits that have been doing decent damage on their own are going to have to be the rest of the damage for this map. That's a little bit more pressure on the SI side, of course. This is going to be a hit coming in now, though. The smoker pull is going to land. Hunter's going to land on to Ellis for a hot second with a spit going down, but Ellis is actually going to have it spread up that, which is going to do even more damage to Brian. This is going to be another set of pills committed. That's the last one the survivors have right now, and now they have this event to deal with, because everybody knows the best combination in competitive Left 4 Dead 2 is 300 ping with Horde.
It's gonna be fun for WTF Spongy, that is for sure. I think that was a quad sack.
I believe it was, and I think that might be what the SI are banking on with this Horde. They have the quad with the event, no spit, and now this is actually be the survivors going into the room on the side. They are bleeding, and this is giving me flashbacks of the RBT5 Grand Finals, where I believe it was versus, of course, Team Envy on map 5 of Hard Rain. Team, you remember the porta potty thing? I remember the porta potty thing.
I remember it well. That jockey spawned up and I guess tried to scratch. This Horde is infinite, unless I'm mistaken.
It is infinite, indeed. So they're not going to be able to do this.
Spongy have got to move eventually. Okay, there they go now.
Exactly. Now one survivor is slow, that being Thanatos, and since that's the case, this might be even easier for the SI to land, but there's no reason for them to rush it because the bleed is still so real on 3 of the survivors. this is a great show of patience, I'd say, by Coreagaming, just to have them come into the worst area possible for them. They're also running lower on ammo. The Horde is stopping a little bit now.
Smoker's so far away. He's not going to be able to pull anyone. Look how far away the Smoker is. He's got a despawn.
Yep, and I think he might be doing that maybe to slow them down just a tad, but this is really interesting timing by both teams. He's actually looking for a pull.
They know he's there.
They know he's there now, too, so this is going to rely on the rest of the hit to make some space for him. The pull is not going to land. Hunter is going in, not going to land either. Shooter is going to land, not yet, but he went for 2 punches and whiffed. The Smoker of all things is the SI that lands. Everything is chaos when it comes to some of the hits on a Detour ahead, but that was really nice patience by both sides. The bad part now for team Where the Fuck is Spongy is they have to, I think they have to hit the button and then move towards the safe room because they do not want to be dealing with the sword the entire time. They have almost all 4 slow though at this point, so that's the one trade-off for them. Even though they didn't get quad and they shut that down decently, they're now going to have to traverse the rest of this with almost no health.
Next hit comes in. Oh, nice 2-cap at the front. With the spit onto Dusty, that is going to be an in-cap. Dave is 1 HP as well.
Yeah, and this is the unfortunate part.
They did have to go for the button, but you know what, Rails?
Yeah.
I think this is almost a win for WTF Spongy already in terms of, you know, the benchmark for this map. They're going to make pretty much full distance, even with no bonus. I think they'd be happy with that.
Right. And the key point of this is they're getting the most they can without bonus in one of the most challenging positions possible. Because if you're thinking what's going to happen on the EU server, hypothetically, this would force Team Coreagaming to also make the distance points if you're going map by map. Obviously, the flow of the game is much different when you have home and away, plus each one of those games is its own individual challenge for both sides. But this, as you mentioned, I think is as close to a win as Team Where the Fuck is Spongy can get on this, because they're not looking to make it with bonus. They're just looking to get as many points as possible with this ping. And that's why they're going to bait this as much as they can, because they do have a bit of bonus left. But next map will be where we see how things fall in. Indeed it is. Charger is going to be going for punches. That's going to be landing onto Nick, and it actually floats him up. That is going to be the wipe directly outside the safe room. So it's not all the distance points, but this lead is absolutely nowhere near safe for Team Coreagaming yet, even though it is just 1,414 points going into this map 3, 2,188 to 774 on the Korean server. This is already halfway over on this server, Elliot, and so how do you feel about this so far if you're Coreagaming?
I need a bit more. I need a bit more from Coreagaming, I think. I need a little bit more bonus. Obviously, map 2 was good. Map 1, not so much. I need 2 more maps here where they get sort of 50, 60... Hell, I mean, obviously, even more is better if they can, but at least 50, 60%. And I think they have to wipe WTF Spongy on these tanks. Getting full distance... I mean, map 3, this map, for instance, is a great example. This map is very hard, even on green ping, to... You know, it's so long. The high ping survivors cannot be allowed to make a good amount of distance. So, Coreagaming, I think they've got to step it up a little bit into these final 2 maps.
Indeed, they just might, and they're going to be on Survivor side first, working their way out of the safe room and down this fire escape. Let's see this hit go in as that Smoker is not going to land, but it's a double charge in the safe room with the spit not going in at all. That is going to be a Smoker pull onto Coach and a bit of spit spreading to him somehow. That was a nice double charge in the safe room, but the spit was not able to maximize. That is, again, Coreagaming, you know, fighting their way out of what might have been a precarious situation. And now you're going to see Prove, because of that death charge potential plus this ladder choke, they're going to be making short work of that.
Yeah, he's just gotten straight through. He's taken the choke. That's good. Still, though, eating another double charge from... I mean, eating another charge from a very high ping team. A little bit dicey here for Coreagaming. As you said, they did get away with it. The Spitter wasn't able to capitalize, and I think Prove did M2 the jockey, which saved him from taking a lot of damage.
Well, in this hit here, Boomer is going to spawn up below, getting the Arc Boom onto 2. The thing is, the survivors have to drop to start an event, and they're in absolutely no rush at this point, because they know they have the position that it gives them the best advantage. And when they drop in, I think they would rather just have everything clear and then take the horde that way, rather than jumping into combat with the hit. Hunter's going to die. Beautiful skeep by Kane. Jockey is looking for something as well, and this is actually a very staggered hit by Team Where the Fuck is Spongy. That's surprising to me, but I guess maybe they're waiting for a charge spit and a better combo for up front. But like I said, there's no rush on Survivor side right now whatsoever.
I'm not quite sure what that hit was. I mean, there was no better combo, I don't think, that a Charger, Hunter, Jockey, Spitter, which is what they had.
They want this rocket. I think they either want this rocket or they want to be inside with the Charger. I don't know exactly why Smoker here is better, as you just mentioned. But the Smoker is going to be looking to spawn in front. Charger and Boomer and Spitter. It's a 2-2 on the roof. So if this Charger gets melted and/or focused, that would be ideal for Team Coreagaming. Arc Boom does get a single. Here comes the Charger. Not actually.
Again. It's a 2-tap. The smoke.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous because that is a huge amount of damage going out from what you would normally think isn't the best hit in that spot. But they went for the 2 survivors in the back, and the Charger did not get focused. That's something that you really. That's something that you really cannot afford to happen on Survivor's side. And unfortunately, after that first hit, Elliot, I think we were both kind of thinking it, but are you getting like a little bit nervous on some of these hits when Coreagaming are on Survivor's side just for...
Yeah. I mean, it looks like WTF is Spongy. This looks like a green ping neutral when Coreagaming are playing on Survivor. WTF is Spongy are landing so many charges. So, you know, I'm clearly just awful. I can't land charges on 100. WTF Spongy have no trouble on 300.
I will reiterate this multiple times during this cast, but everything that's happening on SI side by Where the Fuck is Spongy is not easy to do whatsoever. That's what makes them, you know, as good as they have been. But now this hit's going to be a quad coming in. Charger is not going to land. The Smoker
finally a Charger misses, but one punch, 2.
Jockey also not going to land, but yeah, those charge spits have really been the story of the game so far, with that 300 ping being what it is. But now the tank is going to be up into the hands of R-Wolf for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy. Let's see what he does exactly with this. He spawns very far away, and I think he's not able to get up that way, right?
No, you can't. You have to go around to get to the ladder, and the tank looks a bit lost here.
R-Wolf. Oh no, this is not
around, buddy.
This is not. They're trying to tell him exactly where to go, and he's
he's lost. It's just down the end of the corridor.
He's completely, well, now he's AI. There's absolutely no way he's not AI. And it's not the Survivor's fault. This is what you want to do and take it back to this spot, but there's no way he gets in, I don't think. Because he's already at 45%, right? If he holds W for this, maybe. Why
is he hitting his hittable?
Because I think
it looks like he's just committing to the AI.
Yeah, it's because I think he knows his body, unless he whales this and then just holds W. But if Team Coreagaming LOS him whatsoever, then he's gonna be just in a terrible, terrible spot. But I don't know if they're going to be doing it. Maybe he is. Okay, so it's not going to be bought that way. But if they had LOS'd him there, they might have actually been able to make it work. But he's still down to 40% on the second pass, going for the commit. Jockey, Hunter, and Charger, maybe not the best with the Charger for this area. Let's see if they manage to make it work, however. Tank is hitting his hittable to the right-hand side, trying to herd the survivors a bit, but he has no time to go for the rest of it. Now he's going for the dumpster on this side, popping it in, not going to land. Car is near Kane, but he gets hit away. And there's the R-Wolf tank skeet onto Dusty with that Hunter being taken out, but that's going to be a corner now going on to Coach, away from the hittables. Jockey and Charger going in. That hittable is still right there next to Rochelle. That's going to be bouncing around. It's not going to land, so no AI, but also no real death, no real catastrophe going out. Once again, a one in-cap situation, and the story of the game once again so far, Elliot, is this is where Team Coreagaming need to play better on their home server with this ping versus the SI that they've been, you know, dealing with on the hits outside of tank so far. That's the story of the entire grand finals so far.
Yeah, I mean, and even then, that tank did fine damage. He got 4 punches, and you know, we had to also think that Coreagaming, as you said, had taken so much hit damage going into that tank. They've got to play through basically the entire rest of the map as the hits coming in. Ski. That's what we need more of.
Exactly. That's what they need to be doing on all the hits that they possibly can for the rest of this match. And that's going to be the Smoker and the Spitter both dropping behind, but not getting killed either because they're trying to basically decommit the SI, but there's the kill on to the Smoker. The Spitter managing to stay alive, probably to choke the survivors out when they drop into the sewer. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, Coreagaming choosing not to kill that Spit is a bit curious to me. I think Spitter is absolutely the #1 spawn you don't want the infected to have for the sewer.
Right. Well, let's see if they manage to navigate this decently, because the survivors have already dropped down, making sure that they're using the momentum now on survivor side as they're going, but it's going to be a Hunter, Charger, Spitter, and a Jockey. This is a pretty ideal hit, I would say, for a tunnel like this, but the 300 ping question needs to be dealt with, I would say, by Team Coreagaming, by them not eating the SI in a situation like this, you know? It's doable, but, like, in a room, too, when the Charger, or a hallway where the Charger has the ability just to charge straight down, they need to focus this Charger.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of how this map plays out. You really have to take almost no damage before you head into the sewer, just because it is so easy to take damage in the sewer, as they are going to try and play on Coach. Nice key.
The Charger charged into the pole as the rest of the survivors were able to back up. That was probably one of the strongest hits that Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY are going to have for the rest of this map. There is a devastating ladder choke that survivors have to take after they go through this choke, but with this bonus, Coreagaming are doing now, I think, the best they can after having some issues earlier, and you have this knife-wielding Kane playing Ellis, just running forward and killing all the common that he can.
Yeah, that was a huge shutdown. Not only did they not take damage, it was against, you know, as you said, the most dangerous hit. There is now no spit and no charge to worry about.
The Boomer dying, maybe they're trying to get either one of those SI just for this next choke, but I will be interested now to see where they decide to hit exactly with what they have, because this Hunter is also spawning behind. Maybe they're going for another one now, or just maybe slowing them down. I think
they've got to save for the ladder at this point. If they hit now, the survivors will just take the ladder for free.
Exactly, Improve's not committing his kills, so they're going to be slow enough to where they maybe could try something, but they're going to have no Charger for this on the ladder. This is a precarious situation for the survivors on any ping, let alone seeing survivors do something like this on 300 ping. That's literally just that's just abusive to whoever's playing the game. But
yeah, I mean, as you said,
it can be devastating for a team even on low ping this way. Coach though pushing his way to the top, that being proved, clearing out the common. When you used to not be able to shoot on ladders, this was even worse. But this could still be devastating, depending on exactly how the survivors decide to push it. And the baiting timer is engaged.
Now, I don't know if you know, but that spit will not do damage.
Okay.
So they have nerfed this ladder choke somewhat, because, as you said, it just was so unfun to play.
Exactly.
The
Now
spit at the top of the ladder does not do damage.
Okay, I'm not sure if Coreagaming necessarily knows that either, because they're all kind of standing there. They need to not get jockeyed down the ladder. That's almost what happens, but look at all three SI colliding onto Kane at once. No fall. Oh, but Kane fell! And now he's gonna catch himself, though, on the ladder. That was another situation where even when they shut it down, there was one moment that made me clench multiple parts of my body for Team Coreagaming's future, but they are going to manage to get their way out of the sewer with a still amazing health bonus, honestly, for this.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
They have actually done a really fantastic job. When the tank died, they had about 800 bonus. That was a long time ago, a long way in the map ago. They have 735 now. They've lost like 60 bonus through an entire half of a map, or more, 3/4 of a map.
Yeah, I think their survivor side has really gotten into rhythm just based on how they've been doing against the tanks. This is more what you're looking to see, and so far they're making it possible to have a huge advantage on this server. Let's see what this last hit does, though, for Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY. It's going to be Hunter, Charger, Spitter, and a Boomer for it. The Hunter's going for a wall kick, with the Charger looking to dive off this roof directly into the survivors' faces. Let's see if they're able to do it. Proof is 1 HP. Hunter's going in, gets blown out of the sky, though. There's the Hunter skeets that we're kind of looking for, with this Charger now being forced to land on its own. The Spitter is alive, though, going to spit at the survivors.
And it's not going to spread up there.
I didn't even know you could
only the charge.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could get into a position where, you know, you can jump just on those on those machines and just dodge everything. But there's the end cap by the Charger onto Prove. That definitely looked like it was going to be a lot worse prior to that going in. But this jockey's going to be getting M2 to shut down, slap with a knife in the face, and Coreagaming make the save for him. Now we have ourselves a non-negligible lead, especially if the SI for Team Coreagaming can show up. That's 1,408 points. Only 1 through 4, remember, on the chapters of Detour ahead here. So this now gives them a sizable score delta in their favor. And if they can
get a replay of last map's tank, thank you, Grudger.
Oh, well, that was well, that was something where, you know, I'm pretty sure the path might be a bit clearer for the tank on Coreagaming's side, but there's so many things that can go wrong for survivors here on this ping. The death charge is an opportunity. This first hit can do a lot of damage, and if there's ever a point, I think, at this tourney, specifically in the grand finals, of course, because that heightens the pressure of everything, but this might be the biggest challenge that we've seen Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY face so far in this entirety of their run. So if they
and I think you said it really well on the ladder. This map in particular is really hard, even on green ping. So WTF and Spongy they're gonna really struggle on 300, but I don't think it's gonna be easy for them even on the EU server.
I completely agree with that. And this first hit, if this charger can rocket and somehow land with this 3-cap that they have, that would be absolutely huge. And it's a patience game again from the SI as Team Where the Fuck is Spongy are making their way out of the safe room. They have Dusty playing that shoddy in position 1, actually, making his way down the ladder. And,
he is on the lowest
or down
ping.
the stairs, rather. And he is actually on the lowest ping that way, too, because this is a tale of what's the least evil you can have.
Ooh, that's not good.
This is really bad. This is really bad for Where the Fuck is Spongy.
That's not good at all. That might be an in-cap.
Dusty's getting in-cap. The smoker pull is going in there as well. That's going to be the first
in-cap.
down. And Prove is going for the charge, landing it onto Nick with the
slam.
This is devastation by Coreagaming. That's almost 2 full in-caps. That's an in-cap and a half. More than an in-cap and a half on the first hit, Elliot. Now, I am getting hype as fuck.
Ooh, that was a lot of damage. Dave down to half health as well. I think he took about 25 full damage on top of the charger.
Right, and Dusty got separated by that jockey, and the charger just went down, guaranteed the in-cap on that, and then went, and Dusty is still down below with that spit.
Oh.
That spit
Big
going in.
Gate, maybe? He didn't
I'm
kill
not
the
sure.
spit, though. That was the only problem.
I'm really not sure based on what was going on there, but that separation when he gets jockeyed off the fire escape, that's like the worst case scenario that could have happened. And now, with them bleeding the way that they are, Dave is trying not to take pills, right? Thanatos is trying his best not to. That's going to be 2 survivors bleeding basically by the time they get the tank.
It looks like Dave is going to be playing POS 1 again after that first hit.
Right. That was something that, obviously, on whatever server, you can't allow that kind of separation to happen. There was no way for him to... There was no way for Dave or for anybody with the Uzis to clear Dusty.
No way for anyone to clear it.
Yeah.
He got jockeyed off the bottom.
This is going to be a spit going down to the
spit?
Smoker pull's going to land. Hunter is going for the survivor in the front. Going to land. Charge. This is going to be a huge amount of damage. Rochelle is still pinned. The smoker pull is going out on the side. This is absolute devastation by Coreagaming onto Team Where the Fuck is Spongy in a way that we have not seen in this tournament so far. This is what we wanted to see from this grand finals, Elliot. I am so impressed by the way that Coreagaming have brought this, even after the first couple maps, because on whatever ping, Where the Fuck is Spongy are so strong, but they are now looking at a sizable delta, to say the least. Already on this map, they are basically dead if they try to run this tank back.
There's no way they can take this tank back. So I think basically the round is over for WTF and Spongy. Their goal now is spawn the tank, get the maximum distance they can, and then die to the tank, I suspect, will be their plan for the rest of the round.
There's that charge landing in front.
Charge lands.
Again, that's going to be more damage. That's a down onto Thanatos. This is every single hit now. This is the special infected that's gotten Coreagaming in this position to do this kind of challenge. And as you mentioned, I think this is already a foregone conclusion when it comes to this map. They're going to get, 250 distance points or something, but then that's going to be a 2.6k difference going into map 4. And then if map 4 can be maximized in the same way by Coreagaming, that will easily be the strongest shot that we've seen at this EU server game, being requiring a performance from Team Where the Fuck is Spongy that they might have done this entire tourney, but they're going to have to be at their absolute best on EU. Hunter's going to go in, going to get seated though by Dusty. Really nice shot by him, as that is going to be spit going down for just a bit of damage. A weaker hit that time, as the smoker is basically just trolling near the alarm car, and he's pulling Coach instead of Nick, and they're not going to shoot the alarm either. So now this tank is going to be up momentarily in the hands of Kane, and all he really has to do is go ahead and hold W, because the survivors are already dead.
Yeah. So 309 points of distance.
I
mean, the good news for WTF is Spongy is they did get, all of the pre-tank distance. And as we have said, this map is very difficult. Coreagaming may be able to kill the tank on the away server, but I'd be surprised if they made a lot more distance than this.
Exactly. There's the corner going into the
triple charge.
To the triple charge that's then also going to land. That is just absolute brutal devastation by Coreagaming Special Infected. That was one of the best maps we've seen from them in this entire tournament, and that gives them, just on that score alone, just under an 1,100 point advantage on this map. 1408 to 309 total score, 3,596 to 1,083, and now this is getting super duper interesting, Elliot. Anybody who's watching who's hoping for Coreagaming to have this at this point is the best shot they could have given themselves to actually pull this off.
This is the kind of point difference that you want to have. I mean, I think you need to have against a team as strong as WTF Spongy. They definitely need to have a solid map for here, as I've said a few times. In many ways, this map is the easiest in the campaign, I would say, especially for a low ping team. It is a long map, but it is relatively open, and the tank is very easy to AI.
Indeed it is, and the tank's going to be at 52% here as well, so it might be an AI situation or something where they can fight it in a very wide open field. They need to not catch a hittable and then do the same kind of work that they have been doing. Charger is going to go in, not going to land that time as Rochelle gets out of the way. Smoker Pole does go out briefly in front, but that's going to be the jockey going for Kane too with the M2 shutdown going out by him. Only 8 damage on the board from the SI, but lots of Wandering Common getting into Kane's face since they are just there. Yeah, he got mobbed, literally.
He did. He lost about 20 health, and easily half of that or more was from the SI, as we do have a crash here.
Exactly, and this is a point to mention as well. We do have some teammates and former teammates on either side of this too. We talked about Prove and Kane, and obviously the coordination of team Where the Fuck is Spongy, but also, you know, with Arwolf and Dusty having played for Envy at different points too, right? Like, these are players who really, really know each other's style, and this tank that is going to be up in the hands of Thanatos, he's going to have to try to do like everything he can with this kind of situation, but I think so far the familiarity between the two teams is in Coreagaming's favor, just with that coordination too coming down from how Envy like to play it. You know, I've seen Kane play Shoddy for I don't know how many years, and he's doing a very nice job in this game. There's another pop going out, and now this is the survivor performance that we want to see. Yeah,
we're seeing a little bit more go-go from Coreagaming here. I like it.
Yeah, that Hunter gets skeeted, Charger goes in, not gonna land that time.
Melted.
Mechanical, absolutely mechanical shutdowns there by Coreagaming.
This is much better. They look confident. They didn't look confident on the first couple of maps, is if I had to pick a word. Now they're looking much more confident with their survivor. We're on green ping. We can skeet these hunters. We can, you know, take these chokes a little bit more aggressive. We won't give time for the SI to get set up. And this is scary if you're WTF is Spongy. The tide, I think, is fully turned now.
Indeed it has, and the momentum is on Coreagaming's side as they make their way towards this choke. This choke has been modified heavily because back in the day, not naming any names for people who have actually done this, but if you could hit spacebar on that ladder climbing up and instantaneously die, there is still a death charge opportunity, but it's much harder to hit, and they don't have it on the SI side whatsoever. It's just a Hunter, jockey, and a spitter. Hunter's going to be going for something in the back, looking to pounce on to 4ZE, but he's on top.
He's on top of the thing, yeah.
He's on top of a barrier, so that means he'll be alright, and they are going to start the event at the same point. That's going to be Proof hitting it. They're going to drop back, and Elliot, the main spot where survivors stay, is in a very open collection of vehicles at the end of this freeway, and if they can get in the right position like that, as we've been seeing them do on Survivor's side, they're going to have everything in their favor. They kill the horde, they push the tank, and then they decide to either go forward or back.
Yeah. They've made it all the way back, as you said, to this end of the road here. Lots of objects to stand on. All of the infected have to funnel in from in front. They're looking healthy. This is kind of how map 4 goes. They probably shouldn't take much damage, at least till they get back to the bridge. As we are maybe going to see the hit come in. Here comes the smoke onto Kane. Wait, what's Kane doing?
Kane was in the front, just a little bit off position, I would say, right there, because he got pulled against that guardrail. I guess they were afraid of some kind of charge spit. That's a little bit of an unfortunate situation for Coreagaming, but because they're on their home server, they were able to shut that down relatively before it got into any more ridiculous territory. But I'm with you on that, where it's like...
so far, it's just not really necessary. You can stand all the way at the back. The infected have to come for you. I mean, it wasn't too bad in the end, but yeah, it could have been a lot worse, and he still did lose about 25 health.
Yeah, and they don't want a repeat of that on Survivor side, so they've actually changed up the positioning. Here comes everything, though, from the right-hand side. Hunter, jockey, both going to land with a stick going
charge.
Charger's not going to make it, though.
Brian, that's the 300 ping charger that I know and love. I'm sure on his screen that was perfectly lined up. Of course, for us, the spectators, it looked like he was a full second and a half late with the stumble.
Right, and I'm watching that with my own, you know, we're sitting here with our latency as well, and for that 300 ping, it just clearly did not connect on either side, and this is now going to be the survivors making their way up the choke. There is no charger again. There is a death jockey somewhere here, but a lot of this has been blocked off in this version of competitive, and...
There is a death jockey. Everywhere there isn't a rail.
Exactly,
which is only...
Exactly.
I think only just at the first drop there, and then right at the end.
Yeah, the way that it used to be is that this whole thing would be a precarious place to get either jockeyed or charged off the side, but because a lot of it's been blocked, that risk is much lower. This is a huge tank right now for Thanatos.
Up in the hands of Dave.
Yeah, and this is for his entire team. Like, he needs to do some kind of work here, as the survivors have the perfect health to run all the way back, no charger to deal with, and they could easily traverse this map with the event done. You know, if they can limit themselves to only taking another in cap, then that would be the ideal situation, and Dave is going to have to follow them all the way in. Charger's not going to land that time either. It's going to be a hunter and a jockey for the rest, and I don't think he's really in danger of going out here. He could be if the survivors just hold W all the way, but he needs to be on them just directly behind. Like, directly behind.
I don't think he's close
this
enough.
actually might be bot. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I think this is an AI. Coreagaming going to take it all the way back to the corner behind the safe room, if you know, but behind
Yeah.
that truck.
yep,
All the
that's
way in that back corner.
Yep, that's the spot, and they're going to be botting this tank. All right, well, that is going to be something where I don't think he was quite able to keep sight. This might be... I know we've been close to a couple AIs and this and that. It really does come down. If he were able to somehow get sight on them right now, he would be okay, but he's not going to be able to. AI tank is making... AI Tank is making his first appearance of the match, and for those asking if whether or not this is something that's advisable for survivors, this is just the spot where you take it. Hit's gonna be going in too, and actually the SI are already in. Jockey's dead, Smoker's dead, Hunter's dead. It's just an AI Tank now against Team Coreagaming with a dream.
Nice.
Exactly, but this AI Tank is going to be kited completely around, unless this Common gets behind Rochelle, but it does not. Boomer goes in, not gonna land. Rock isn't gonna land. 0 damage on that tank, and this is now absolutely wild to witness, because Coreagaming, you know, they could have shut that tank down if it weren't AI, but because they went all the way back, which is also standard, I would be surprised if Team Where the Fuck is Spongy don't do the exact same thing, but this momentum is absolutely crushing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Dave is going to be a little bit annoyed he didn't get to play a tank, but that really is just how map 4 goes. This has been the meta for a long time on basically every tank spawn. Basically every tank spawn period that isn't very early. So it's a little bit of a shame, but as you said, it's going to happen on the EU server as well. I'm almost sure of it.
Exactly, and this would be the biggest challenge that Team Where the Fuck is Spongy have faced so far. It already is, with Coreagaming putting on a clinic now of their own on Survivor side. That is going to be a jockey landing for a little bit of damage, but this quad really wasn't in sync whatsoever. And actually, I think if I'm the Special Infected right now, with the ping plus the AI tank plus what's happened in this match so far, you know, this is Coreagaming asserting dominance in this game, at least so far.
Charger didn't even spawn on that quad.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and
that means they do still have the death charge, possibly. I'm sure Coreagaming are well aware that the charger is still up.
Yeah, it's something. It's something where they should be able to dodge it, so long as they don't eat like a bowling charge. Charger gets completely annihilated. Smoker Pole does go out in the front. Boomer missed an arc boom climbing up, but really no damage on that either. And Coreagaming, when we said that this could be a high-scoring campaign, this is kind of exactly what we're talking about. Because mind you, this is before they have even half the distance points on this map. They already have 4K points, and this bonus is absolutely apocalyptic.
They've got 1,200 bonus right now, right?
I mean, the bonus is 1,200, and there really aren't a whole lot of other opportunities for damage on SI side on this map. I mean, they have a charge, spit, hunter, jockey, but again, it's an open area here. Going inside, if they're able to shut down anything in that warehouse and then hold W, that's exactly what Team Coreagaming wants to do, because there's just almost nowhere to get close to the survivors in a map as open as this. It kind of gives me like a Blood Harvest vibe as we're moving through here, but worse because there aren't really rockets for them. So if they send this now and they don't get a charger for inside, that could be nearly no damage. And everything's coming in from pretty far away. Jockey trying to land. Hunter gets skeeted. Charger
lands.
That is unfortunate for Team Coreagaming, because I feel like that charger should have been focused just a tad bit more. And it is a bit of damage, but you still look at the health bonus and it's like, well, that's the one hit they were able to get there, and now they're not going to have it for the inside, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world for Coreagaming at all. That was about 100 bonus, which in the scheme of 1,200 that they had before that hit is really not much at all.
Exactly.
They're going to find another set of pills in the cabinet. They do.
Yeah.
It's now, that hit was now even less. It was only 60 bonus for that full hit.
Exactly, and it's something where you don't want to see the charger landing in that situation because you're trying to be as perfect as possible, but that's a nice skeet going out. Jockey gets a scratch, but that's it. Smoker's looking for some kind of pull, and the Boomer on the right-hand side is going to get popped before he bursts through that door, and now this is free running for Coreagaming as they're making their way towards the safe room with an absolutely spectacular performance on their home server so far in the grand finals. They have said we might consider any team in competitive Left 4 Dead 2 to be the underdog on paper, but in this match we've got the Mo. 5,400 points exactly through 4 maps of Detour ahead. That is a 4,000. That is a 4,317 point advantage through these first 4 maps. Now, this is also going to be very crucial, though, because even with the high ping, if the AI tank happens in that way again, right, and this time it would be Team Where the Fuck is Spongy AI in the tank, they could still make some like modicum of distance there to bring this closer. But if Coreagaming play the way that they have so far, that would be the bracket reset if things don't go spectacularly wrong for them on the EU server. This is clearly the best performance we've seen so far from them in the tournament, and they need to bring it home on this side and then play that home and play that away server as best they can. Charger misses. Smoker did go for a bit of a pull, but is not going to land. That's a much cleaner take by Team Where the Fuck is Spongy just off that first hit. But Elliot, the problem has not only just been these tanks, it's been the hits everywhere else, and this event with this ping can still be very perilous.
Yeah, that's exactly right. At the start of this match, you asked me, which map do you think is the most important? And I said it was this one, map 4. And we just saw it. Coreagaming made a huge bonus. The thing about this map, especially with these tanks, can be very easy to AI them, but it is a long map. And as we've seen, WTF for Spongy have been struggling with the hits. So even if the tank gets AI'd and is a complete no-hitter, they're still going to have to play through, what, 12? 10, 12, maybe even 15 hits from the infected. It's going to be rough on this ping.
It really is. And this next hit's going to be a Charger, Hunter, Boomer, and a Jockey for this choke point, which no spitter is one thing, but I think actually we might have had a... I don't know if there was a brief disconnect or what exactly is going on Survivor side, and indeed we did. So he will probably rejoin at some point. Apparently they can't move. That is interesting because I'm not 100% sure why that would happen. It might be just a random connection issue or something with the ping spiking that way, because I know that can add to some movement issues, but they should rejoin pretty fast. Exactly. Both of them are back in the server. We should be able to keep this going basically as we can. Let's see if they are actually able to face this hit and everybody's good. Thanatos is good, and maybe he's not actually good because he still can't move. That's wild, actually.
Oh,
there we go. There's that. Okay, cool. We're good. The banging timer is on. Everyone is clearly ready as the survivors are working their way forward. It's going to be that hit, as I mentioned before, with no spitter, but with a charge. Hunter, Jockey, potential for damage. Boomer is going to get popped. Hunter's going in from the back. Charger from the front. There's the full charge going in. What just happened?
Oh, and then a pause comes out as well. Or maybe was there a crash?
They didn't demo. Yeah, they said they're invisible because of the... Well, it's not invisible because of the lag that way, I don't think. It's invisible because they might have... When they rejoined, if they didn't restart, like, either the demo they already had going or, like, anything like that, that's what leads to a situation like this, where it's absolutely devastating once again for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, and that is going to put this game almost now completely out of reach from a devastating hit. You know, when you rejoin like that, or if there is invisible SI, any chance of that, right, you really want to make sure you start another demo when the other one has already been stopped, and that's just an issue that comes with competitive Left 4 Dead 2. Everything is going Coreagaming's way at this point.
Big 3 cap. I think Dusty, I don't know what happened on their screen. Someone, or maybe multiple someone's clearly didn't see spawns. I will say, though, Dusty got double charged, and because he was up against a wall, he actually didn't move basically anywhere and was able to clear very quickly. So in some ways they were lucky. I think they need to keep in mind that this is a 300 ping team. Crashes on this map do happen. You need to remember to record demos. That's just the way it is.
Yep, and so now we are going to see the Spitter spawning up for this 2-2. Smoker Hunter for the pinners. Hunter looks like he's going for a walking somewhere behind the army truck in the back, and the Spitter is decommitting from this hit already, trying to make his way backwards, and there's the ski going out by Brian onto the Hunter. Smoker is going to go in as well. They killed the Spitter first, so it's not going to be a quad. Double boom does land. It's going to be a Charger 3 cap coming next, I'm fairly sure.
It is going to be a spit with the 3 spawns, as you said. Spitter died second there.
And this could still be a chance for a big play from the SI too, because they have the Charger Hunter jockey. They don't really have a massive amount of spawns near the survivors right now, but there is going to be a transition back, and the Horde is already here. This actually might force the survivors to take the hit in this area, which is much worse for them. Charger's trying to spawn behind the bush on the left-hand side, and here comes the hit. Charger is going to try to line Nick up and land it.
There's another 3 cap.
And that time nothing was
2 in the spit.
2 in the spit. That is going to be a brutal amount of damage going out on a team where the fucking Spongy. Coreagaming are running away with this on their home server. It's amazing to see, because each one of these hits as it goes in, that coordination was perfect. They are maximizing, and they have team where the fuck is Spongy exactly where they want them. Everybody's slow. Event is still not over. Elliot, they can't even transition backwards.
They can't make it. They're all slow. They're common everywhere. There's a smoke in the back. The wheels are coming off.
They are.
Jockey.
There's the jockey onto R-Wolf too.
Here comes the charge. Dave's gonna get charged.
He's gonna get charged right after he gets that clear, but then the Boomer's going in for scratches. This is
Dave's gonna get black and white.
He is. This is, and they're still trying to go back. I'm not sure why. I'm really not sure why. Yeah, because them going back to hold out there, what exactly do they think is gonna happen? They're dead, right? Like, yeah, at this point, this is gonna be the end of this server, I'm fairly sure. Just because, even if they're trying to go back and hold out, the point is for what? Like, they're not trying to take the...
I mean, by the time they get back there, the event's gonna be over.
Exactly. Spitter Hunter, Jockey, Charger for this next coming in. That's a good ski coming out. Charger's looking for the charge, landing it onto Nick, and there's the Jockey landing onto Rochelle too, as she gets jockeyed behind. Dusty is gonna go down. This is absolute, just brutally amazing SI play from Coreagaming. They've been a complete team from start to finish on this server so far, and this is the moment I think a lot of viewers and anybody watching the tournament has been waiting for, because this is easily one of the best examples of the home and away system, I'd say. We'll see exactly how it goes on the EU server, of course. Boomer's gonna get M2 dropping down, and he's just chasing them, and he finally does pop on the 2 survivors below. Hunter and Charger both going in, double cap up top, and the 2 survivors down below are completely split. This positioning has been wild. Thanatos is pulled forward, and that is just the story of the match so far. Just by limping, team where the fuck is Spongy are gonna bring this below, if I'm checking my math correctly, a 4,000 point score differential at least, but that's pretty much all they're gonna get.
And that's it. The point differential, I mean, there is no chance that they survive this tank, I think. So the point differential is gonna be 3,997.
All right, yeah. I mean,
and you know, we were wondering at the start, what's the safe difference? 2.5. Well, nearly 4K is what we're gonna get.
Exactly, and that's exactly what Coreagaming need to do in this situation. 4ZE is going to be working this tank in from the top of the train car. Survivors is backing up as much as possible. There's the wall kick going on to Coach. Fall Rock 2 going out as the tank comes in. However, that was a God Frame Rock, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter because there's the 2 punches going for the
He's going to decommit. Jinman is going for the maximum mental damage.
Exactly, and I think that's the right thing to do. And when you have a situation like this, you absolutely need to be guaranteed to win, and that's what you should be doing in this point. This is a point where you do the other team absolutely no favors. He'll go in now, though. Jumping off, though, is Thanatos, and there's the multi-punch. Elliot, we have waited a long time to see this. It's 3,997 points separating these 2 teams going into the EU server. 5,400 to 1,403 in favor of Team Coreagaming on the Korean server. I don't know what any of us were expecting going into this, but this is now a moment where if we see, so what, it's got to be 4K point win. It's got to be a 4K point win for Team Frag4 on the EU server. They can do it, but this is extraordinary to witness so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. Stranger things have happened, and as you have said, and as I've said, this campaign, there are a lot of points to play for. Team WTF SPONGY could do better than Coreagaming on map 1 and map 2, for sure. The question is, are they going to be... They basically need to play flawless Survivor. I think
Chciałam wam serdecznie
Coreagaming were nearly flawless. Basically, only map 1 was a little bit below standard. Wow, I mean, this is a huge point differential. My goodness.
That's one of the that I think is the toughest position that a team has put, aside from a neutral server win, which we saw happen a couple times, maybe in other tournaments back when they were PubStar. But like, for those who have known how dominant team Where the Fuck is SPONGY and Frag4 Rehab, they're the winners of RBT5 that way. Like, they have been so dominant. But in the grand finals, to come up against a team like Coreagaming, who has played amazingly in the tournament, and now for them to be at their peak, it's about who's going to get the momentum at the right time, and this would force the bracket reset for what next weekend would be. And I can't guarantee it yet, because call me crazy, but if there's one team in the entire world that can win by 4,000 points on their home server, even in a situation like this with the pressure, it is Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY. But that bracket reset would be just monumental. Monumental, to say the least.
It really would be. I mean, we saw, wasn't quite such a huge point difference, but it was on a much lower scoring campaign in Dark Carnival. Coreagaming played on the home server in the last home and away between these two teams. They had over a 2,500 point lead on Dark Carnival, which is pretty similar, maybe not quite the same, but pretty similar. And Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY was able to come in on their home server and play almost flawless Survivor on their 4 maps, and was able to secure the comeback. So this is far from over, but man, do they have their work cut out for them.
Really do. And I'm trying to think to myself, it's like, okay, I don't know exactly what the ping is going to be for Coreagaming, but I don't think it's going to be as brutal as the 300 there. It might be pushing like 250s, something like that for a couple of them. But the thing is, even with that higher ping, the point is not even that they have less ping in terms of red, it's the green ping that Team Where the Fuck is SPONGY play with. And for them, they're probably just going to do what they normally do in terms of like, okay, we're going to skip this, shut that down. I expect them to play fantastic Survivor, but on the other side of things, like Coreagaming, they're gonna have to make the tanks count in ways that just absolutely guarantee the damage, because they need to basically not lose by 1k points each individual chapter, which I think is definitely doable. But in terms of how you coordinate that as an SI squad, like, you're still trying to go in with everybody at the same time, but you're gonna need to just do like guaranteed damage. Because the thing that I don't expect to happen, and maybe we'll get proven wrong again in terms of this, but I mean, Coreagaming can come up with some amazing hits on SI, but against any team that is able to like play this cohesively on their green ping, right, in terms of Where the Fuck is SPONGY, like they gotta maximize the tanks. They absolutely have to maximize the tanks, in my opinion.
It's basically the only advantage you get playing on high ping on both Survivor and Infected. The only possible advantage, consistently reproducible advantage, is tank arms. So Coreagaming are gonna, as you said, make maximum use of the high ping tank arms, get as many punches as they can. But yeah, I mean, look, WTF SPONGY are, in my opinion, biased casters in the chat, everyone, the best Survivor team in the world, especially on green ping. So if anyone can make a 4,000 point, my God, just saying it makes me shudder. A 4,000 point comeback, it's them.
Yeah, and that would be, like I said, they've done as well as they have. But I'm so impressed by Coreagaming so far that way, and that's why, like, I know we got baited, right, when we casted the match where it was Aquilix versus Coreagaming on, what was it, Die Scraper, right, where that wasn't actually proved. But the fact that this is actually proved, and actually Kane, like, playing with each other, that is a huge amount of... It's a huge amount of chemistry, cohesion, and also a bit of a revenge factor for the RBT5 Grand Finals, right? So if there's anybody who's motivated enough to make sure that doesn't happen, it's these two. And then if it comes down to a winner take all game next weekend, right? That would be just absolutely so hype, because it is, it's a question of whether or not the team that won RBT5 in essence is going to be able to retain the title then in RBT6. And so far what we've seen is that this is anybody's match. It's anybody's home and away series. And next week, if this is possible for Team Coreagaming, it will come down to one of the most consequential map vetoes, I think, in the history of Left 4 Dead 2. Because I think a lot of this has to do with the map too. Because like you were saying, Dark Carney's a little bit different there, where that's so static and people know it as well. But I do not think I've seen Team Where the Fuck is Spongy this uncomfortable on a campaign in quite a long time.
I think you're right. I think Coreagaming are a little bit more familiar with this map. Certainly some of the recent changes on this map. We shall see. We shall see. There is everything to play for.
Score is set to 5,400 Survivor.
So we're going to see like a 7 or 6 or 7. No, it's going to be 7, maybe even heading up to 8,000 points for these two teams after the next 4 maps have been played. That's going to be very interesting.
Right. Well, and the fact that they're setting scores too, I'll say this, right? This is the advantage that we obviously see. It's going to be more than 4,000 points because of distance and all that. But, I mean, if you're looking to fully guarantee this game, you're looking for the distance points. I don't know how we're going to see Team Coreagaming play it unless they're going to try to be static. But in a situation like this where you have that advantage, you know, you don't want to see... Well, honestly, like I said, in the Grand Finals, it's no mercy for either side that way. But, like, if you're trying to guarantee distance, maybe you don't want to go back through the map and take those other kinds of things. You start thinking in any way, like, what will get us the absolute most amount of points, and then just make it completely impossible for the other team to do this on Special Infected side. So, I'm interested to see exactly with this lead, and that lead's going to force Team Coreagaming, of course, to play a Survivor side each chapter, unless the comeback actually works that way in 3 maps, which... Okay, that I don't think has a chance of happening. I think in order for it to happen, it needs to be 4 maps, but forcing them to start on Survivor side each time, I think, allows them to actually have an advantage with a score delta this big, believe it or not. Each map, they're going to get points, and get points, and get points, yeah.
I'm just thinking about, so it's 4,000 points that they have to make up, plus, of course, all of the distance and all of the potentially the bonus, although I think the WTF Spongy are going to be very disappointed if Coreagaming see any safe room.
Well, that absolutely cannot happen, because then that will, in essence, end the game. Like, it's possible to get amazing bonuses on this, but when you're facing down the prospect of having to deal with distance points too, they're just going to have to take it 1 tank at a time on Where the Fuck is Spongy's side, and then do what they can on Survivor, but they really cannot afford to make any mistake when it comes to this. If they're taking anything more than, like, a down per chapter, I don't think they win this.
Yeah, they definitely need to wipe Coreagaming every map. I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just, I absolutely love this kind of atmosphere, because now everything has been way heightened, and as we know, both teams playing amazingly on their home servers is what you expect, but let's see what Coreagaming decide to do, you know, on Survivor side here, defending that lead as ferociously as they have been from the last game. I think we're just waiting on one more caster to join before we send this live once again, but for those watching, we have had an absolutely incredible Grand Finals of RBT6 so far, and I expect nothing less from this second half of the home and away series. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, right, it's like on a neutral server things are way different, because it's like, okay, here's your one game that you have this kind of stuff go down, but when it's a home and away, and then also a guarantee that if one team were to lose because they were the winners bracket winners, right, then there's so much more strategy that really can go into this. And I don't think both teams are looking ahead to next weekend yet, of course, because they're so focused on this game. But when you start thinking about it, I just keep going back to the map veto question and exactly what it's going to come down to. I don't think people were fully expecting Detour Head to be played today, but it's an amazing strategic play, of course, when you're trying to find the map that works well for you. And I don't know, this is something where I actually am enjoying watching the home and away system being played, just because you do have teams with comparable pings. And as we can see on Survivor side now, Kane's running, what, 250 up to 290 for Prove, but they also are running with an over 4,000 point advantage momentarily, as we are live with the second half of the RBT6 Grand Finals in what might be the first game of 2, based on what's happening now with Team Coreagaming on Survivor side and Team Where the Fuck is Spongy on Special Infected. Let's see what happens on this first hit. Hunter's going to be going in, managing to land. Jockey's looking for something as well. Boomer gets a triple boom, but the Jockey's getting brutally M2'd by the Survivors. Let's do another quick roster rundown as Coreagaming are on Survivor side first, and Team Where the Fuck is Spongy on Special Infected. So, for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, it's Dave, Dusty, Arwolf, and Wristburner. And Elliot, once again, who do we have for Coreagaming?
Over on Coreagaming, we have 4ZE, aka Jinman, Razor, Kane, and Prove.
And anyone joining just for the second half of this, yes, these scores are real. We've already had one game played on
that is not a bug,
server.
folks.
That is not a bug.
It's actually 5,500.
Exactly, and it's climbing up now with only a bit of damage going out onto that. That Boomer is going to get shut down. That's going to be the Charger and Hunter both going in. Charger and Hunter are both going to land, but the Smoker did not. That's one slam from the Charger. Slow clear on that ping, but again, nothing truly catastrophic yet happening to Coreagaming. That's the kind of hit that you need, though, if you are on team Where the Fuck is Spongy. And let's be honest about this, Elliot. If this tank doesn't wipe, I do believe this might be over.
I think you're probably right. This is pretty much a must-wipe for Dusty. He'd do well to take a page out of the proved playbook, I think, get on top of the survivors, and just hurl rocks at their 300 ping heads. No mercy.
Exactly.
The Coreagaming are not going to let him. Look at this.
They're playing so aggressively, and I absolutely
love this.
I love this. Spitter's going to die. They're taking the momentum. They're going for the mental game. They're saying, we have this lead, and we're looking to play you again. We're going to try to beat you as much as we can with this advantage. That is how you absolutely have to do it. Tank is throwing rocks in Rochelle's direction, but Dusty,
he's taken over 1,000 chip.
He's taken over 1K chip. They are so rattled on SI right now. They really, really are. The Coreagaming is doing a absolutely fantastic job of controlling this just from start to finish.
Okay, he has finally gotten his hittable. It's behind them though.
Around.
I think they can play forward.
They can, and Dusty's backing up. He's going for the car. They're going inside. They are. The car's flipping over. It's going to land. The tank is now upstairs. The Boomer's going to land, but it's a 4K HP tank as they are inside. This could get a lot worse now, though, for the survivors because they can't kite back outside, but the tank only has under 4K HP, like I just mentioned. Let's see if they're able to shut it down because the Boom is going to be mostly wearing off at this point, but Dusty's on second and is going to have to go in as well. This is absolutely incredible because here he comes, going for Ellis first, and they are really everything they have. Hunter is going to be in too, landing on Rochelle. Jockey land's going to get cleared. Charger's going to land. Tank is almost dead. He's at 1 HP, but they're pinned.
Rochelle's clear.
Rochelle is
the jockey
lands again. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Nick's cleared. Nick's cleared. There's a car.
He got the car. He's got to go for the car. He got Dusty gets
Oh my
kidding me?
God.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that was so close to just being GG right there. Coreagaming absolutely Chad. Stayed there, chipped the tank, took it inside. There was just a few commons still coming in from that one boom that I think, I mean, on this ping, even just like 2 or 3 common meant that some of the clears on the infected were a little bit too slow, and then, of course, much easier for us because we know how much health the tank has, but if those last survivors just shot the tank instead of trying to kite him, just 1 more shot or 2 more shots from a shotgun.
We saw this on the other server, for those that don't know, on map 2. There was a similar situation where a tank for Coreagaming, I think it was in the hands of Razor, right? No, 4Z.
Yeah, Razor on map 2.
It was one of them, because when they try getting a corner in that same way, when tanks are down to that low HP, it's like 1 or 2 pellets would kill in that regard. But now this match is not over because of that wipe in the hands of Dusty. Absolutely clutch play by him. Hunter is going to get blown out of the sky. Jockey's not landing yet either. Boomer is going to land a single boom, but only 4 damage coming across the board. And now here comes the go-go, because if there was ever a moment to turn this match completely around, this is it for Where the Fuck is Spongy, and they need to ace this tank and make the safe room with an amazing bonus to do so.
Yeah, I mean, that just got their work cut out for them. Map 1 was Coreagaming's worst map, I'd say by far, on their home server. So WTF is Spongy, in that regard, have slightly less pressure on this map in particular, but of course this is not a game of 1 map, it is a game of 4. They're going to need to make as many points as they can on every map.
They are. This is a quad attempt, though, coming from Team Coreagaming. Hunter, Smoker, Jockey, Charger for the hit. Let's see if they manage to make any of it land, because the survivors are taking their time as much as possible as they bait all of this out. Brian, Risk Burner in position 1 there. Smoker's coming in from the back. Charger's coming in too. But Hunter does land in front, and the triple cap does land!
Oh, the Jockey in the back!
Exactly. That is what you want to see. An amazing hit by Coreagaming. They are
That's more
not
damage
giving
than
an inch.
Coreagaming took.
They're not giving a single inch on Special Infected side either. The mentality is amazing to witness because even with that white being exactly what it was, that was a beautiful hit coming out. With the red ping onto Team Where the Fucking Spongy, I am loving every single second of this, and it's about to get even more intense with this tank spawning up in the hands of Razor, getting chipped just for 2 HP, so obviously he's close to dead as the survivors start working their way back, and he's not going at all for that hittable, and you actually are going to see a spit go flying up in the air. This is going to delay the survivors for any AI chances. Charger goes in, going to miss, and now the thing is, I don't think they counter push him here. I think the survivors go back to the safe room.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like they are committing to the run back. They possibly could have chosen to play more aggressive. The only thing to be careful of is, of course, those massive 300 ping arms coming out from Razor, and they are going to commit to the run back.
Indeed they are, and I think that's the right call in this situation. I don't know if we see a repeat of the rock tank that we did on the last server, but if they're going to commit this tank at all, then this is a decent 3-cap to do it too with the Hunter, Jockey, and Smoker. It looks as though they're going to be playing pretty cautiously though, because again, there's no reason for them to rush any of
Smoker on Dusty.
Smoker is going to spawn up.
Doesn't have the angle.
Hunter and Jockey in the back, and no, indeed, he does not. That's 400 chip going out onto that tank, but that's all it's going to be. And this actually might be what they have to commit with, and indeed it is, because the tank is down to 50% frustration on second pass. Survivors are making their way back into the safe room, and they're going to be looking for the SI from all around them as the tank commits. He's already down to 4.6k when he hits the ground, and now the survivors are being kited into one direction with the SI support coming in. Missing the punch that way, though. Skeet goes out. There's a punch, though, going out onto Brian. Another punch going onto Brian. Another punch going on to Coach and Ellis at that same point. These arms are amazing. Those arms by Razor are absolutely ridiculous. It's not an in-cap, but he does manage to spread the damage just a bit, and that's 3 sets of pills committed. That's the kind of mitigation I think that you're looking for on SI side, and so far Coreagaming's SI has come to play, Elliot.
Yeah, that is exactly what we were saying. Very high ping arms. They haven't opened the DB, and I think that was 5 punches in total if you include the double. It's definitely more than WTF Spongy wanted to take, but it's still okay as long as they don't take basically any damage on these remaining hits.
So far, so good.
There is the quad sack. So far, so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had the Charger die first. The Jockey's actually in front, trying to look for a Rochelle. I don't think they were going for a quad. I think they were looking to have a charge spit or something inside with how quick that Charger died, and they might be able to get that by the time the survivors are there, but they've already committed their last set of pills. They're probably going to find another as they're progressing through the map. But let's see what this is actually going to be, because it's a Smoker, Hunter, Charger, and one of their spawn coming into queue. Survivors are going, though. Smoker pulls going to go onto Coach, is going to land. Charger is going for the backward charge too, but not going
300 ping charge.
Exactly, yeah. And as we've noted, those sometimes land, but sometimes don't, and sometimes spit spreads up on things, as Brian just saw from that solo spit. That being said, this 525 bonus is what Team Where the Fucking Spongy need, but still, Coreagaming, with the lead that they have and the momentum that they've shown on Special Infected side, I think they can be decently happy with this map so far, even with like 1.5 more hits maybe to send.
I mean, as of right now, WTF Spongy have done better on map 1 than Coreagaming did. Both teams wiped on the away, and WTF Spongy have about 200 more bonus than Coreagaming made it into the safe room with.
Exactly, yeah, and
there is still one more hit though.
This would be the one chance for them to still do damage, as you mentioned. With one survivor slow, that being Brian, they might try to stack something on him. I don't think they go for the death charge play. I think it's going to be the multi-cap attempt with that Hunter respawn on the right-hand side. Double boom is going to win, and there's the Charger coming for the front. He's going to whiff, but that Hunter is still on. Exactly, that was on Arwolf for... That actually looked like it was going to be more damage than it was. If that Charger lands, that's catastrophic, but instead... That is just going to be one more hit, I believe, before the safe room now, with the survivors still slow. And this is something where, okay, every single bit of damage that you can maximize absolutely has to go in. Because even with the score delta, it's clear that Where the Fucking Spongy are quietly not giving up in this. It's been a slugfest so far, to say the least. But like we mentioned, this is actually what they had to do when all was said and done. They did it by the skin of their teeth with that tank fight. But at the same point in time, that's going to be a pull going out in the back. Charger gets melted. Rochelle is going to take a bit of damage, but that's going to be all that the Special Infected really have, aside from the Spitter, who is standing in the safe room looking to get some kind of delay. Manages to get it. But Elliot, it's not quite over. It's been absolutely wild server so far, to say the least. But here we are, 5,638 to 2,363. So still a 3,200 and some point difference to come back. But that is the way that this can start going in Team Where the Fuck is Spongy's direction. They didn't maximize it as much as they could have, but they can be... They can be happy that they're still in the game at least after map 1, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if we just take it on a map-by-map basis, WTF for Spongy are actually winning. They have done better on map 1 than Coreagaming did. Now, of course, map 1 was by far Coreagaming's worst map, and Coreagaming had some absolutely monstrous maps, especially map 4. So they're still sitting pretty, but this is far from over, and that is a decent start for WTF for Spongy.
Indeed, it is, and with this score delta, any safe room that's made by Coreagaming at this point almost guarantees what they're going.
They cannot see a safe room. I think that is absolutely fair to say.
Yeah, and now what they have to do is they have to find a way to, first of all, set the tank percent. I think it's supposed to be like 51%. Indeed, they're at 53%. Okay, cool.
53, there we go, you know.
Yeah, and that means that Coreagaming are going to be able to probably push it up that far and then take it back. But I want to see, if you're rooting at all for Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, you want to see these other hits do some damage. That's a good way to start with the Hunter landing and the Smoker.
It doesn't
also getting
spread?
a critical. This happened now 2 games in a row where the Spit did not spread on top. It was on the floor instead. So now Coreagaming, with their ability to play through this ping, they're just trying to get the Horde off of Coach and Ellis in the back so that they can actually go. But they need to clear a bit better than they are. You saw how slowed down they got by that double boom just a bit. That's going to afford another hit to the SI.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes, I think, on this ping. Common are so much more difficult to deal with. Getting boomed on 300 ping is awful. They are going to make it all the way over to the van, though. So WF is Spongy deciding not to hit in any of the sort of choke through that fence, behind the rock, behind the van. Nope, none of that. They've waited. And Coreagaming are pretty much set up for it now.
Indeed, they have this quad cap on the SI, the Jockey Charger Smoker Hunter combination, but it's a very wide open area with not a massive amount of rockets, so the Hunter's going to be positioning himself to the top right. Charger's on the right-hand side. Hunter's going in with the Charger. Hunter's going to land. Jockey's going to land. Smoker lands. It's just the one survivor up before those clears go down. That was very close, but on any ping, landing in an open field like that with the Charger, it was so close to being that way, but one survivor is able to stay out of harm's way and make it not as bad as that looked for a second there, Elliot. That was very close to the quad.
3 cap did land, but as you said, the Charger was basically chipped to almost no health before he even got in. It's just a very difficult area to land a charge. Tank is up. Are Coreagaming going to go back? Okay, they are. I would have absolutely loved to see them push another tank, but maybe that's a little too greedy with so many hittables.
I love the way they did on map 1 because they played that near perfect and it's needed to survive. But this jockey's getting
Razor M2's the jockey. That is actually really big. He could have got jockeyed all the way back into a hittable. Oh!
Well, yeah, and this is precariously close because Dave with this tank is right there and he's knocking these hittables in as much as he can. And any one car
Ellis
here.
Prove is chipping the tank. Get out of there, Prove. There's a hittable.
Oh, and this car's going flying all the way over the top. And it's going to bounce directly next to Rochelle's face. Because that is what you love to see in Left 4 Dead 2. And the van is going whipping over it. It's on top of the semi-truck now. Single booms in. So is the tank. Here comes the hittable. And it's not going to land.
This is bad.
What is going on? This is so bad for Coreagaming. But one survivor is being hit completely away. That's a kite going out as well. The Hunter's coming in for the double cap.
It doesn't get the clear. It's a wipe. It's a wipe.
What is going on right now? This van is being hit around on the right-hand side. The tank is just standing there with this double cap. They got so separated by that as they were just running around. That's the wipe going out on to basically Coreagaming because I don't think there's any way these 2 survivors kite this tank for 4k HP. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Car is flipping around at the same point in time. Devastating double cap with that clear almost going out onto the Smoker too, but not quite able to get it. Charger's gonna go and not gonna land. Maybe it's actually not because Coach is in the corner. The Smoker is dead. The Charger whiffed and now Razor is still alive. Now he's getting hit back across the hedges.
Okay,
the
does get
lands.
lucky.
Maybe
Kane's
this is where
going
they
for
kill.
the pickup.
Maybe this is where they kill Rochelle, but no, the tank is going for the cars on the other survivors, which I think
This
is also
might not
a good
be
call.
over, Rails. The tank's
I
only
am-
down to 1600 health.
I have no idea what's happening anymore because this entire fight.
Can't pick up Nick though. The hittable will just get him right back down.
He's dead, exactly. So that's what Dave really needed to do. But now the two survivors are just running
Kane
forward.
has got his melee out. Kane has no ammo. I think if Kane had ammo, it might have actually been able to kill that tank.
He's crouching at him and looking at him with his golf club as he's going in. The
Yeah.
rock is going to be going on to
Oh,
Kane. The
that's a
jockey's
shame.
going to land. This was an absolutely absurd tank fight for so many reasons. But that initial split, I mean, I don't think Coreagaming are playing as like high octane on Survivor right now because they just know getting these distance points and wiping at tank is kind of giving them space. But, I mean, that still is not what you want to see on Survivor side. That looked like a clear wipe for a second, then the Survivors were working their way out of it, then somebody wasn't cleared. And in a grand finals like this is what the advantage of playing with the score, you know, being what it is going into the round kind of affords you, because stuff like that can happen when you don't usually want it to. But I still wouldn't be counting Team Where the Fuck is Spongy entirely out of it just because they still have to play as well as they have so far. They've done the necessary, but just from a mental perspective, I'm not sure exactly how that's changing the impact of this match as a whole, right?
I mean, I think they've got to be feeling better and better with every round. So far, so good for them on the home server. They've got the 2 wipes that they need. They made the safe room with more bonus last map.
Exactly, and that's also got
There's the quad.
the boomer and the spitter going out on top of that too. It's
Dave
just
is
like-
out of there.
Dave is completely out of there. Yeah, he's pushing his way all the way forward, not getting hoarded by Common either, and now he's sitting there spraying his trademark happy face on the ground as he's waiting for the rest of his team to join him. It's going to be a Charger jockey and 2 other spawns coming into queue.
It's going to be a quad, I
second.
believe.
Indeed it is. Charger Hunter, jockey, and a smoker. It's the chance for Coreagaming to continue their spectacular special infected play, which they very easily could. But, again, on Survivor side here, this is where you cannot afford any kind of mistake in this match for Where the Fuck is Spongy. Let's see if they manage to take this quad decently well as they're shopping the house just for a second. There is ammo down there, Elliot, in case they needed it to avoid a situation Kane faced, right?
There is ammo at that house. That Charger, this poor Charger's got a lot of work to do. He's flying in, nearly lands, does get killed.
Yep, and you saw the Uzi Skeet go out by R-Wolf as well, so that was exactly what the Survivors needed to do. Let's see now if this tank can do any kind of work similarly to what we saw last half, maybe without as many moving points and as much absurdity going on in that department, but you can never tell in a match of this caliber. Prove has this tank for Coreagaming, and he's going to be moving his sedan nicely down the street here, maybe trying to bring in all the hittables possible, Elliot, to guarantee either a death or a wipe.
It looks like he is going to bring his hittables. I mean, the Survivors will just go inside if the hittables are scary, so I do wonder if he would have been better off just leaving that first car and maybe trying to cut the Survivors off in the same way that Dave did. They have to make a long run back, but it is all behind us now. The Survivors are all the way back, and Prove is kind of struggling with his hittables a bit here. There's a lot of trees.
At this point. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, with the Survivors most likely fighting it inside anyway, I'm not sure how much any of this is going to do. He's got that hatchback completely wedged in between the tree.
I mean, they might not. If he doesn't get this van in...
It's on the roof.
Oh, it's
teetering.
not gonna fall.
Oh.
The Survivors can play this outside rails.
Yes, they can, and that's why the
There
tank
is
is
no
rotating.
hittables. He's gonna go for his police car.
I think he has to at this point, and I think they're just going to go for Chip and then guarantee, like, staying inside maybe, but...
Oh, they are going to stay inside, okay.
Oh, no, now they're cutting out, going for the Chip that way, too. This is a very disorganized tank right now from
Yeah,
Coreagaming.
they're fighting it out.
Yeah,
Look
they're
at misses.
cutting back out. The tank is pushing the Survivors, going for a long arm.
Kiting him,
Not
Rails.
landing it. They're kiting him literally everywhere, and there's nothing he can do.
One punch. Thank you, Dusty.
One punch. Yeah, he's got one
Thank-
punch onto Rochelle, and that's it. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, the
this-
wheels are coming off.
This is why I said that on Special Infected side, right, for Coreagaming, they need to continue what they were doing before, because that was just a complete mental lapse, both on Survivor and SI so far from them this map, and it's absolutely not out of the question yet with this bonus. If this bonus gets preserved by Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, this match is not quite over. It's still a huge difference that way, but that's why I was getting a little concerned when I saw what happened to Coreagaming on their Survivor side, because I don't know in what situation you ever want like a split like that to happen to completely shift the momentum, and then that tank as well wasn't able to get hittables in. The survivors kite him around. This hit's doing absolutely no damage so far. Hunter gets blown out of the sky, and Elliot, this is why I really liked the way that Coreagaming played on the first map, but right now this is not what you want to see if you're them.
It's happening, Rails. It's happening. I mean,
happening.
I would go as far as to say that if WTF is Spongy make it in with this bonus, that might almost be GG. They win. This is an enormous bonus.
This is absolutely absurd when it comes down to what's happening. It's incredible. It's everything that you could ask for in a match like this. Smoker, Charger, Boomer, Jockey, all the momentum now is on Team Where the
Charger's not gonna land.
Charger doesn't land. Jockey's going to land for a split second onto Coach, but that's all they've got because this Boomer is now going to die. Smoker getting a pull in the back. Man, I am absolutely stunned by what I'm watching right now because Team Where the Fuck is Spongy have not given up one bit, and this makes this wipe that Dusty got, right, in this match on map 1 so vital with that car. If they just survive that tank on Coreagaming side, it's a completely different story, but this is nowhere near over now at this point. Jockey, Hunter, Charger, Spitter for this hit for Coreagaming. Elliot, we are witnessing something. We're witnessing something huge here, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, they make it in with this bonus, and it's like only 18 or 1700 point difference.
Right, and that is not insurmountable whatsoever on this home server, with map 4 being the way that is, and with map 3, where the fuck is Spongy could pull off one of the most incredible comebacks now in the opposite direction in the history of Comp Left 4 Dead, and I'm just sitting here absolutely I don't think we could have asked for a better storyline so far for the match, with only one hit left to go on this map too. Jockey, Hunter, Charger, Spitter, as the survivors are getting close to this drop into the room. Coreagaming need to make at least something happen here, and then they need to not do what they did this map on Survivor next map. That is probably where their heads are at right now, because they can try to get some damage on this, but this bonus is going to be astronomical. Waiting for anything to go in because Dave is already down there. And now the Hunter's spawning in the back with the Charger.
Hunter's spawn, he's gonna get skeeted.
That
It's easy
is not-
skeet for Dusty.
What is going on right now? Because
Jockey gets melted.
it's just the Charger and the Spit now too. Charger's gonna
It's
drop
gonna
in.
get picked.
But
Charger
the
does
Spit's
land,
back in
but
the
the
wrong
Spit,
direction!
Spit had to. He was gonna die.
Well, no,
Like,
but
where is the Spit?
The Spit's invisible on the boxes? Is that what we're seeing here? Okay, yeah, this is Left 4 Dead 2 at its very finest, because Where the Fuck is Spongy are going to make the safe room
That
with
is a
this bonus.
1,000 bonus.
That is a 1K bonus. It's 5,894 to 3,955. This is not yet out of reach whatsoever halfway through this. This has been just, for Coreagaming, I'm sitting there asking myself, that wipe, like, it was something that we kind of saw watching in slow motion, right? Because, like, you never want to see that kind of split happen in any circumstance. I'm sitting there watching it, right, and we're saying, all right, well, they have a huge, what seems to be an insurmountable point lead. This is not insurmountable whatsoever at this point. 1,894. You know,
I mean, Coreagaming, they just took way too long on the run back. Dave always was going to play for it to cut them off. The boom landed. But then I think even more kind of egregious mistake. And look, hittables can be unreliable and tricky, but Prove was not able to get any of his hittables in play. The survivors played it absolutely beautifully. Baited him by looking like they were going to stay inside. As he committed, they ran outside, completely ring around the Rosie. The only mistake, and this is being really nitpicky, Dusty got a little bit close for one punch. That was it. If we look back on the tank that Coreagaming had to play against, they fought it inside against High Ping. They took a lot of damage on that tank rounds. It was 6 or 7 punches.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, both sides like that on Survivor and Fed for Coreagaming really did fall apart, but now they need to try to find a way to shake it off. They need to get at least most of the distance points on this map, or at the very least make it to the tank in a way that gives them some kind of modicum of control on Survivor side, because right now
I think just making it to the tank isn't enough. They need to kill this tank and need to get a good amount of distance.
I think you're right. This is the way that it's going to start, though, with the Hunter landing up top, Jockey going down below, not going to land. Charger, though, is going to land onto Prove, and they're trying to wall him, and they're not able to wall him. Three. Almost 4 pounds off that charge, because you cannot wall that there. Oh my goodness, now the map knowledge is working in the opposite direction. Things are breaking Where the Fuck is Spongy's way, and they're going to try to push their way maybe up the ladder choke, but I think there's another hit because of the slowness of that clear, at least by the time the survivors are jumping off the building.
Yeah, they have made it past the ladder choke. There won't be a charge. Smoke? Oh my goodness, I could see the death smoke coming in there for a horrible second. It is, I think the survivors can actually loop back around if they have to.
Yeah, but that would
Coreagaming
be just
running.
the thing that one do. Yeah, that's a nice skeet.
Keep running.
Keep
Go,
going.
go.
Just hold W. Go, go, go. That's exactly what they're going to do. The spits on recharge, and now this is what Coreagaming need to be doing.
That's better.
This
I
is
like
much
this.
I like this so far better than what we saw last map, just because it seems like they've gotten things a little bit back under control, reset completely after map 2, and just try to approach it as they are now, because they're blitzing their way through these chokes decently well, but this is also a pretty strong hit for the SI. Spitter, Jockey, Smoker, and a Charger, so no Hunter for the wall kick potential, and maybe they're actually going to hold some of the Horde here. That, I think, is what we're seeing.
They are going to kill, I guess, the remainder of the Horde here. They don't want to run forward and spawn the tank while there's all the common behind them. That is a good call.
Right.
Unfortunately, Prove is going to have to pop another set of pills, so they will be down 2 sets of pills before the tank comes in. For this ping, it's not the worst. If we think back to WTF is Spongy, they had like 0 pills and 4 slow at this point on this map, if you remember, Rails.
Exactly, and I think what we're seeing here too now is, you know, this, I don't know, it's a situation where both teams are kind of waiting for the other to make a move, and I think Coreagaming is now resetting and trying to take it just a bit slower because they know they're going to get hit here, but they have to be careful with the baiting timer along with their position here, because if Proof for whatever reason gets, you know, taken away, then they can do a lot of damage. India does, Smoker's going to land, Jockey's going to land, Charger is not going to land though, however, they focus that Charger so hard. The Smoke and the Spit does get a bit of damage, but the alarm car has also been triggered. Elliot, I think that was the right decision to focus the Charger.
Yeah, they focused the Charger. Smoker got a bit of damage, but, you know, no Spit charge landing. They did shoot the alarm car, and that's actually quite bad, because it means they're going to have to take another hit while they wait and clear these common. I'm sure they very much wish that hadn't happened.
Yeah, because they have one survivor bleeding, but Prove's not going to commit more pills until these common are all dead. Hunter, Charger, Spitter, Boomer for this next hit. Rocket spawns are indeed a thing. Hunter's going to die. Boomer goes rocketing in and actually
stumbled in the
air. Mid-air.
Oh.
That's not what
right.
you want to see. Yeah, exactly. If
0
you are,
damage.
Yeah, you don't want to see that if your team were the fucking Spongy, because like that kind of mid-air stumble, that's just left it at 2 things for sure. But the Spitter has been kept alive, and now the tank is up for where the fucking Spongy in the hands of R-Wolf. And again though, Elliot, he kind of needs a wipe here on the SI side of things.
I think a wipe would put WTF is Spongy in a commanding lead in this home and away. But Coreagaming have the health, and we know they have the skill to survive this tank.
Indeed they do. That's going to be a smoker pull up top. Not going to land. Jockey does land for a split second down below. But R-Wolf is going to be playing with a couple of his hittables over in the street before getting anywhere close to the survivors. Maybe he's going to try to bring 3 in. That's a good car hit, but it bounces off and I think
There
it's
is
an invisible wall.
Invisible wall up there, yeah. It's hard to bring hittables.
That's good.
But it's not impossible. He can get the bin. Actually, I don't know if he can now. Oh, as I say it, he does.
He does, so that's going to be one other hittable being brought in. Nice job by R-Wolf, but he's on
And he's punched it out.
And indeed he has, so that work was unfortunately in vain. Charger, Hunter, Boomer for this area. Not sure how I feel about that, but the tank is going to be forced in, I think, with just this one car. And indeed, he's going to be wheeling the hatch back towards the
Coreagaming are playing it outside.
Indeed, they
are they going to push him? No, they're not.
That's the split that we're seeing now, though, where one survivor on the right-hand side.
Boomer gets in too.
Boomer gets shut down. Tank is going to have a car, though, to a Charger survivor.
Oh,
but and there's a Hunter on the inside.
Can he get the car through? He can't!
Yeah, he can't now. He's punching Rochelle in the 2, and Rochelle's jumping over his head! The car goes whipping out of play. The tank has less than 3k HP with Rochelle in the corner there. And now he's going to be going for his car again. They're going to probably go for the pickup, but it's a decent spot to rock from. Almost landing that one, but not quite getting it. Maybe going to throw another one here too, Elliot. That looked so awful with that hittable for a second, but Coreagaming so far are alive.
He didn't. They had the hunted guy. He wanted to get the hittable on the Charger. He couldn't. He could have turned around and used it on the guy who was hunted and killed the guy who was hunted, I think.
I think you're right about that, but now he's going for this dumpster instead. Willing it in!
Oh!
Not going to land, and the tank is down to 1100 HP. They need to kill this tank on SI, I think, soon, because there's no Spitter right now. Smoker is going to be going for a pull in the back, and this hittable does have a shot! It's not going to land.
That's it!
fearless play by Korea
Oh,
Gaming.
okay.
Exactly.
That's it.
Fearless
This
play.
is
That's
a
it.
dead tank. It will go AI. It has almost
Yep.
no health. Korea Gaming are gonna get distance.
Okay, yeah, this is what you want to see if you're Korea Gaming, obviously. And because this tank is still alive, like I mentioned, there is no spitter right
No
now.
spitter.
Right, and I don't know exactly how they have no interest in killing this tank.
They
have absolutely
absolutely have no. Yeah, they want to get as far away from this tank as
Is it
possible.
car?
If he stays alive for the rest of the game, they're loving it.
The Charger
Charger
is going
lands.
to land. Hunter is going to take the smoke target there too, and the AI tank is now coming in the back. That's a
Forward
forward
boom.
boom going. I think
They
they
need to
still
watch
just hold
the
W.
smoke.
Just hold W through this though.
Watch the smoke. No,
Yeah.
Nick.
Oh, Nick! No, he's got it. He's got
He
it.
didn't
That
have
was
a ton.
close. But now, yeah, this is now ideal for Korea Gaming. The thing is, they're not getting distance points right now yet because of what's happening with the tank. So they're banking on making it to the safe room. If they make it to the safe room, this is pretty much over in terms of this home and away series. But it's a very precarious position because if for whatever reason they do die, they haven't gotten. Well, actually, they are getting distance points now. The tank is AI. Is that supposed to be happening?
It has changed. Yeah, there was a
Okay.
change in the recent zone mod, and I think
Good.
it is a good one.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say
Distance
because that would.
points get resumed once the
Okay,
tank
well
goes AI.
then this is really easy now for Korea Gaming because they're
The tank
probably
is
gonna
stuck,
make it.
by the way. They are
Oh, boy.
WTF Spongy are not going to get a spitter.
Yeah, they would have to kick it that way, I'm fairly sure, by console. But the tank is now also still moving again. He's on a ladder that he can't traverse. And now he's crawling
Rock was saying this.
backwards.
There's a lot of damage coming out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the most you could get there without a spitter. This is why I was so concerned about the distance points, but things are so hectic right now on both sides. It's because the tank is still standing there, you know, pretty much stuck. And it's a decision to either kill it or not, but maybe what the fuck is... I don't know. I don't know. Where the fuck is Spongy? I was about to say, what the fuck is Spongy for a second, just because now the tank's
What the
gonna
fuck
die.
is this tank? Alright, the
Exactly.
tank does die.
Yeah. So that was something where maybe they wanted to keep it alive too to get another pinner each hit, but these distance points now are really in Korea Gaming's favor. They get the end cap onto Rochelle with the charge, and the smoker is actually just gonna save, it would seem. If the save room is made here though, then it's gonna be super difficult for where the fuck is Spongy to come back unless they absolutely ace everything about this map. And you mentioned it on the
Take the
last
ladder.
server, Elliot. You mentioned this though, where this is an extremely hard map to make on any ping, right?
I'm amazed they've made it this far. And I think they might take the ladder here. There's going to be 2 spawns.
Rochelle's still a little behind too, so if she gets wall kicked or smoked, that's not ideal, but the jockey's up is
Leave
going
her.
to land. Okay, well, the advantage is that the hunter is not up top. They need to get up there right. Well, now the hunter is up top actually, and I thought they were going to go for some kind of kill play on Approve, but obviously they have not been able to do that yet. Charger's going to land onto Coach with Spit going down too, and
That's a bonus.
Prove is still in the spit that way too, but it's not doing damage because of that change that you mentioned, I believe, before. So Prove almost dies. I thought they were going to pounce him and try to kill him, but they actually ended up not doing that. Instead, though, now Korea Gaming are going to be making this on the EU server, and they have brought this back into balance. It was an absolutely wildly momentum-swinging first 2 maps, but now, because they've managed to stay alive like this and preserve even 250 points of bonus on the away server, this is an incredible performance once again by them. They really brought it back together, I'd say, Elliot.
This is exactly what Korea Gaming needed. And are they going to hit? Oh, I don't know if I agree. But maybe. Nice M2 from Jinman. Oh, he's
There's
dead.
the death. Yeah, but exactly. The death onto 4Z is something that's a saving grace for where the fuck is Spongy, but
A
they
little
still
bit.
have
They
to-
still have bonus, and he got a lot of the distance.
Yeah, and it's just a bit because they're still going to be making points on this, and it's going to force the survivors to play.
Coach
Well,
is
that
dead.
smoker pull goes in. Coach is going to be.
Oh,
What's going
no.
on? Razor can't get any of these clears. He's trying
Just
to go
get
for
in,
the
Razor.
clear. He should just go, and that's exactly what he's doing. The spit goes down in front, but he holds W into the safe room, and that is what Team Korea Gaming were looking for. Coach, that being Kane, is going to be dead in the back to end this round, but that brings the total scores to 6,597 to 3,955, so it's 2.5k in 2 maps that they need to make up. So this is what needs to happen. They need to make the safe room this map with an amazing amount of bonus, get an instantaneous wipe or a tank wipe on the next map, and then make that safe room with astronomical bonus as well. It's doable, but they just made it a lot harder for them and on Korea Gaming's side.
That was an absolutely huge round on Survivor from Korea Gaming.
Yeah.
Basically, they got about 450, 500 more points than WTF for Spongy did.
Right, and at this point, the momentum is a little bit on Coreagaming's side once again, just in this game in particular, to say nothing of the added scores. Charger, Jockey, Spitter, Hunter, their SI has been really good so far, and they just need to keep playing up to that level. Charger's gonna land exactly as I was saying that, with a spit going down as well, with that spit spreading back onto Dave. Indeed, the Jockey is stuck, unfortunately, and now has managed to find his way out. The Spitter, though, is actually finding its way into...
Are they gonna see him? They're gonna hear him?
The Jockey lands, though? They are gonna see him. He's trying to hide in the corner, and he's gonna die. He put the Spitter in the box truck. We've never seen that happen before.
Oh, no spit. That's not ideal.
No, I mean, the Smoker spawns below, going for a pull onto Rochelle and actually getting it for a bit of damage onto Dusty. Boomer spawns up as well. This is, everybody's very split. It's 2 and 2 that way, so there was no double cap possibility. But Elliot, I mean, I don't know. The hit there was just still a little bit disorganized for my liking, but maybe they're going for some kind of rocket charge spit play here when the survivors get close.
Yeah, I mean, I think he saw the separation smoke, and Boomer, just sacking the Boomer is not a bad idea against green-pink survivors.
Right.
They do have good spawns for this hit here. They ideally will land the charge, hard as it is to do, on this ping, and pile the damage on with a spit and maybe a Jockey or Hunter to keep him in.
Sure. I mean, they have the ideal setup for this if they're looking for those rockets. The survivors, that being team Where the Fuck is Spongy, are just going to be taking their sweet time to clear everything out as they can. And that I think is the right move, because the only way, like I said, we've mentioned this multiple times as to how well they've got to play, but this is the point in the match where they absolutely cannot afford anything. Like, they cannot afford a death to happen, they cannot afford anybody to just get, like, randomly hit by a hittable, you know, like any of that kind of stuff that could happen in a game of Left 4 Dead 2. They really can't allow at this point, to say nothing of like a 3 cap in this area. And that just allows Coreagaming to have a bit more breathing room on SI, and I think that's when teams play the best, right? When they have that ability to just basically play without needing something right here. That's going to be a Hunter going in, looking for anything.
Not gonna land. Oh, he is going to land.
Exactly, and there's the spit too, and the Jockey going out onto Dave. Dave is getting absolutely annihilated by the spit, and that was a huge amount of damage. I think I accidentally caster cursed him, Elliot, because that's one of the things they can't afford.
No, I mean, they didn't skeet that Hunter. A very rare mechanical misplay from the usually incredibly consistent Dave and Brian on those shotguns. That Hunter repounced 3 or 4 times and didn't die. And WTF and Spongy get punished for it. Dave loses almost all of his green health. He's almost slow. And Brian and Dusty take a little bit of spit damage trying to clear him as well. Oh!
Hunter going for something, not exactly sure, but I think he's also about to be the tank, so for 4ZE, he's going to...
Yeah, okay, he was going to be tank.
Yeah, I guess he was just trying to have that die for maybe
alarm
better...
car? Boomer on the alarm car?
Maybe, but the Smoker's looking for something there too, and now he's going for the pull.
Not going to get it, way too far away.
No. I mean, the Boomer's going to go for an arc from below, it seems as well. Charger's there too, Smoker does land onto Rochelle!
Charger completely whiffs the rocket. There's an invis wall. That's a 3 boom though.
Oh, Smoker pull going for it again, but he doesn't have a tongue.
Oh. I mean, that was game. If Dusty gets smoked there, that's just game over.
It's all over. Exactly, yeah. And the Smoker is almost dead at this point too, and the tank is indeed going to kill it, so... No Smoker for this, and they might get another boom. There's still Horde kind of
still common, yeah. I mean, I think I go. Or I definitely start going if I'm Jinman here.
I think he's gonna try to as he pushes his hatchback in, whipping over the top!
Oh!
By Dusty, and it's rolling behind Dave as well as the tank is now in. There's the pounce landing
Dave
with the early support.
Go down.
Indeed he is, the rock lands on the Dusty too! That's gonna be a corner!
This is
amazing!
This is it!
Oh, this is it! This is absolutely it! This is absolutely it. This is Coreagaming.
Oh my god, the common!
The common.
They can't let them get the pickup. Can't let them get the pickup.
No, the Charger's gonna go and gets the stumble tank, misses the punch, but he's knocking Nick around now, back into the car. Hittable is going to be in play in a second. He's going towards...
Tank is dying! Tank is dying!
Down to 1k, he's down to 400!
Dusty's dead! That's it! Alright, hittable lands!
Oh my goodness, this is what we wanted to see! That is it! That is it!
Coreagaming!
Coreagaming have just beaten team Where the Fuck is Spongy, in essence, in the grand finals of RBT6. Of course, bracket reset, Elliot, it's real!
That is it! That is it! Bracket reset! Ladies and gentlemen,
for a bracket
we are
reset
going to see you in 1 week's time. Oh my god. Jin Man.
Yeah, that was like the SI went in. There's so much to say about what Coreagaming
I
has done, and now that
take
it's official.
every bad word about Jin-Man back now.
That
Jin
was,
Man God.
yeah, that was so many things. So many things have happened in this match that Coreagaming have done well, and I think all of us were waiting for that one point where we knew it was going to be official, and now it is. We are going for a bracket reset next weekend for the RBT6 Extended Edition because of what Coreagaming have done here today, but they've been so in sync. They've been so in sync when it matters. And on that tank, when that double cap landed, right, with the Hunter and the Jockey looking at that kind of position, the Jockey got M2, but then the tank rocked Dusty instead to get that kind of in cap, right? They sent the SI in at a time when they knew they could capitalize on the separation with the common still trailing, and this is going to now be, you know, this is a formality now here on map 4, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
Unless my math is wrong, I think it
You're
is
not.
actually mathematically
It's
over
over.
by about 50 points.
It's over, exactly, yeah, and that is, it didn't even take 4 maps for Team Coreagaming to do this on Detour Ahead because of how well they play on their home server, and they've played an amazing game here too. If you look back at map 1, right, Dusty got that wipe with like 40-some HP left as tank because he got that one hittable hit. If they survive that, it's even more, and then map 2 was just a complete... Map 2 was a complete unmitigated disaster for Coreagaming, but that everything else they've managed to do in this game on both servers has brought them back, and now I'm trying to remember the last time in terms of what Rehab Frag 4, whatever you want to call them, when they've lost an outright match like this. This is a massive moment in Comp Left 4 Dead 2, obviously, and for RBT6, because now it's winner take all next weekend for the tournament, and with this is just I can't say enough about what Coreagaming have done here, but that's why I said if there was one squad that could go up and rise to the challenge like that, with Kane Improve having their history, you know, on NV, plus remembering the grand finals from RBT5, and the whole team coming together the way they have, it's just a spectacular, one of the most spectacular matches I think I've ever casted. Easily, Elliot.
Is this like they got beaten like first time since 2016?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know the actual number like that, because I know they might have had like a forfeit loss or something like that in there somewhere, but I'm trying to remember the last time this happened, and it is historic.
If you don't count the forfeit loss from week 2 of RBT6, it's definitely been at least 2 or maybe even 3 years. They were undefeated in RBT5.
Exactly. So this is, we're watching history, and we're going to continue watching it now, because it's the RBT6 Grand Finals, headed for a bracket reset. Here comes the hit, though, from a team Where the Fuck is Spongy, trying to get something to work. That Jockey was literally floating on Kane's head for a hot second, and he got scratched for it, but just an absolutely amazing job by Coreagaming, dominating when they've absolutely had to, and it's not that I'm lost for words, because there's so many words we can throw around that are sometimes hyperbolic when it comes down to anything when it comes to competition, but this is extraordinary.
It really is. I mean, I'm so excited. We get to see another match. We get to see another 8 glorious maps, assuming they choose another home and away, of these two teams duking it out.
Yeah, and it's been a heavyweight fight like that too, because Where the Fuck is Spongy, to their credit, they have not given up. You know, they've been working the way that they have as a team, despite the delta that we were talking about, and they made it super close, but they just have not been, as a unit, up to the task of defeating Coreagaming here today. Hit's gonna go in, and the Hunter and Charger collide onto Ellis for a split second as the Boomer is jumping around in the back, looking for anything, but Coreagaming still not dead as they push their way forward, and Dusty has indeed spectated that Boomer so that it can die. Mentally speaking here, Elliot, looking forward to next week just a bit as we're continuing, like, it's anybody's match next weekend now.
It absolutely is. This has blown it wide open. I mean, this was close, but Coreagaming, they've looked like the better team, and they've absolutely looked like the better team on this sort of EU server versus how WTF Spongy looked on the Korean server. They so nearly survived map 1. Map 2, they got cut off by some good SI with a boom landing, but even then, I don't think we got to see them play the full potential. They survived, or at least Razor survived, map 3 on 300 ping. I can't survive map 3 on 5 ping.
Well, and it's something, too, where the play is special infected from Coreagaming on both servers has been incredible to witness, because we've talked this entire tournament about how OP right, where the fuck is Spongy are on the EU server, and today they have actually not seemed, they've been made to seem pedestrian. They're making up for it with this hit on special infected side. It's a triple cap going in, but honestly, as the game is already over that way, right, in essence and in from a mathematical
and in actuality,
right?
yeah.
In actuality, it's like, okay, well that's good, and they're still like having that kind of cohesion, but we haven't seen hits like that you normally would see from Team Where the Fuck is Spongy either. They really haven't happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just need to... I mean, there is still one map of Left 4 Dead to play, but... Oh, I can't stop thinking about next week.
Dude,
I say one thing, Rels, we're not going to see Detour ahead again. That is for damn sure.
No, we're absolutely not. Charger is going to land with the Hunter landing on the side. Jockey lands onto Rochelle
Jockey lands as well.
Exactly, and I mean... This is nice, but I think both teams are aware at this point that this is the map that doesn't count as much, and everybody's already thinking ahead to next weekend just because of how this is over. But I don't believe there has been a more hype match than what we're going to be seeing, not only here today, but next weekend is going to be just absolutely just the amount of pressure on both teams for this title that we're talking about here. You know, it couldn't be any higher that way, but if there was one team to actually pull off the upset that we're witnessing now, it's been Coreagaming, and I cannot wait to see what map they pick. I really can't. It's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to that.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah. Next hit is going in, full charge going out in the front, but the spitter is nowhere to be found when it comes to damage until now, and that will be the in-cap. That'll be the in-cap onto Kane. And I mean, this is something where survivors don't even need to survive the tank at this point. But I think just for mentality's sake, that's what I've loved the most. I think about this match, Elliot, is that you've seen how strongly Coreagaming came out and how well they were able to keep it together, right? Like so consistently, even after the aggressive play on this server on map 1 didn't work to their advantage. Like it's that kind of consistency that wins you titles in any esport or sport, you know?
I mean, I think. Yes, they got wiped, but that decision-making on the map 1 tank, as the hit is going to go in.
Yeah, that's going to be the Hunter landing in the back. That Charger, like, chest bumped on the ladder next to Ellis there for a second, so Prove was able to move out of the way before anything catastrophic happened. It was looking like a death charge lined up, and I mean, it's great damage from Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, but all of this is now just, I don't even know, it's just being played out in the way that we knew it would be. But with this being over, you know, Brian's going to go for the wipe. Maybe they'll try to AI him again, but with this health, you know, there's not really a whole lot left to be done when it comes to things here. I think Team Where the Fuck is Spongy are going to try to, like, save as much face as possible, but it really does come down to what we've already seen. I'm so excited for next weekend.
Yeah, Coreagaming, they're playing it out. They're going to run the tank back. I did think that maybe they would just jump off the bridge and go next, knowing that they have the win secured. They are going to take the tank back. Oh my god.
And now they're fighting him here because
Prove is getting in its face.
When he's getting away from him too, Brian is still committing this, and he's going to knock the hatchback into the air, but it's now out of play. Jockey's in, not going to land either, and he's getting kited around the tree. He still hasn't landed a punch.
The Jockey lands.
The Hunter lands in the front, but now Prove's actually gotten by and is going to be able to clear Coach from that. Brian's going after 4ZE, whipping that hatchback around as much as he can, but he's still trying to get onto him. The smoker lands. Rochelle's on top of the car, and he dodges. He jumps over the car. Brian was not able to hit him with it. And
it's a Wolf's tank all over again. He can't get the hittable.
It's a dead tank. That tank is dead.
Hey y'all, I need some help.
That was
dead.
That was another wild tank fight, but it's the same mentality, Elliot. You were saying that they're gonna go back, and then you saw Prove just go right at the tank because
I mean, spawns are down. Prove is gonna shoot tank. He's gonna do what he does best. I love to see it.
Yeah, they are in it to the definition of being in that that mindset, right? And I keep coming back to that in a game like this, but it's been consistency from Coreagaming on a level that has earned them this historic win that we're talking about, and that was another example.
They haven't been playing scared, even on the high ping.
Not at all.
They have not yet pushed these tanks to get in their face, to pressure them, to force mistakes from the SI, and I think they're going to walk away with a deserved win as a result.
Exactly, and that's the thing that will definitely roll into next week is will they be able to keep that kind of mentality in a completely and I think you're going to see Where the Fuck is Spongy try to come back with as much of a vengeance as they can possibly have after dropping this first game here. But now we're going to have the Charger coming in, getting a kill in the back.
Kane is dead.
Kane's dead, the Hunter's getting cleared, but again, it's about how much of this goes into just each team's ability to keep the momentum, and even though one survivor's dead and they have no health, the fact they survived that tank, Elliot, on the EU server is still helping them for next week.
Yeah, this is all great mental for Coreagaming. If they, as you said, they need to ride this momentum into next week and I think just basically do the same. Just do it all again next week, and they look like the better team.
They
really
do.
do.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at lineups, exactly who might be used or not, that way we'll see if any alterations are made, but I expect to see the same Coreagaming team that has done this amazing job today. That jockey does manage to get a scratch down for an end cap with a smoker pull and a double boom going out, just real quick for good measure. But with this pickup, I mean, maybe it's one or two more, maybe not even one or two more hits, because with this ping and with the horde, that smoker does get the scratch down. It's all on Razor now to try to get any kind of pickup that he can, but he's going to be in a difficult position to do so, as the next spawns are going to be coming up in a second. He gets the first one, but now will they be able to recover from this? Let's see. Hunter lands on Rochelle. There's the stumble into the charge, with now 4ZE the only survivor left up, and the Spitter's going to troll, so now they're basically trading in caps at this point. Jockey's trying to do something as well, just to see if they can manage to stop it. And there's Rochelle dead.
We're just farming. We're just farming SI damage at this point.
Literally, exactly, yeah. And I mean, hey, these distance points are still going. They're trying to make it a 7K aggregate score between those two servers in these grand finals, which have been the opposite of disappointing, to say the least, with the amount of hype that's going on. There's no turning back for Prove.
Prove is running for it. He's going to get that one extra point.
He's trying to make it to 7K.
Can they get to 7K? Let him get 7K.
He really wants it, and he's gonna almost get it because he's going on the right-hand side. There's a comment behind him, though, and he's gonna go down.
6992 is gonna be Coreagaming's total score across both servers.
Yeah. Man, Elliot, I mean, we've already had so many emotions on this roller coaster of a grand finals match, but that's why I love the inclusion of the map veto, and that's the one thing that we changed this tournament, right, from the other RBTs, where we let it be a lot of vetoes, and it's proven to be an amazing addition, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and this is going to be the last half of the fourth map that we're seeing here. There was some interesting teleportation, I thought, on my screen going on there.
I think, and I crashed.
And you also crashed that way too, so that might have been something with the server. It looks as though everything is okay, though, on our end, at least for the minute, so it was a bit of damage going there, but, I mean, with the maps that have been in the pool, since they know exactly what they are, this is going to be one of the most strategic map vetoes I think we've ever seen, obviously, not just because the feature is new that way, but it's going to come down to what map are we actually going to see this played on. Detour, I think, because it's a custom map and because they have that ability to make those changes, you talked about Coreagaming, you know, practicing the most they could on this and then hoping to get it to some degree, and they managed to make that happen, and they've looked so comfortable on it so far, as we have another hit coming in now. Smoker, Hunter, Charger, and a Boomer for this hit going in. Charger is going to drop off to the side. Exactly, and that's going to be the Boomer scratching away at Coach at the same point, and for a bit more damage. But this is the no fear of the EU server has essentially been the strategy by Coreagaming, and it has worked marvelously for them.
Yeah, they have definitely looked like the better team across both of these servers. I think they've looked like the more organized team, and they've just looked like the team that wants to win it more, playing more aggressive on tanks.
Yeah. Everything getting annihilated here, as we say that, by Team Where the Fuck is Spongy, I think because they're still just trying to fight, you know, as much as they can, but I'll be interested to see exactly how their mentality changes going into next week. Maybe we'll see them playing more scrims in the intervening week just to get any practice that they can on the maps they don't know or exactly what they're going to do, but I think this is a situation where the reset needs to also benefit them, where they just need to, they need to, I don't know exactly what they need to do, Ellio, when it comes down to that, because they just didn't seem necessarily ready for this exact campaign. We do have a smoke into a jock with a hunt spawning at the end, going for a scratch onto Coach 2, just getting that damage onto Dusty. But, I mean, I expect we'll see another home and away unless they decide to make it a one-game winner-take-all, in which case that will be the most hype hour and a half of our of our tournament lives. But what an amazing way for RBT6 to be extended.
Yeah, I'm just so excited we get to see these two teams duke it out again. It's you know, it can sometimes be the case, perhaps even often be the case, with a home and away where one team's on, you know, 300 ping, that it's kind of a little bit of a snooze. One team just, you know, the away team just gets hammered on the away server every time, and the green ping survivors just waltz through. But this has actually been a lot more of a back and forth. The away servers for both teams put up some decent fights on Survivor and Infected, so I think I'd be happy to see another home and away coming into next week. And I think the point you were saying about WTF is Spongy, you know, as we've said, they've been undefeated for years, literally years. The only one loss they had was a forfeit loss, so I'm not sure how they are going to respond to be handed an actual defeat. Are they going to, you know, take the win out of this match, that they played, you know, pretty solid and they made it a close game against a very strong Coreagaming team? Or are they just going to feel defeated? I certainly hope not.
Yeah, I mean, this tank is in the hands of Kane now for Coreagaming. It will be the last tank of this grand finals match. He needs to make sure that he doesn't just vault himself off the bridge either. He's saying sorry on the special infected chat for something that was going on there. I'm not exactly sure what, but as the tank is now making his way, it's going to definitely be an AI, which means we'll have even more time to talk about this amazing upset from what we saw at the start. And I mean, here's the thing. If I'm not saying that I understand exactly how Team Where the Fuck is Spongy think, but if it's me in this position at all, right, it's like, I think because of the fact the match went the way that it did and some things happen that you don't normally see, like, you can look at some of the mistakes, but honestly, I think you just practice hard for next week, reset, and then try to go back in with as much confidence as possible. I don't think they're going to think about this match too amazingly hard in some ways, you know what I mean?
I certainly think that's the best way to approach it. Say, it happened, it's behind us. You know, some things went well, some things didn't go well, but fact of the matter is we've got one more match to play. We've beaten them before, we can beat them again. I would like to see WTF Spongy maybe get a few more scrims in throughout the week. I think they have maybe been a little bit relaxed with their scrim schedule, and maybe being handed this loss, they might think that all right, maybe we need to be a little bit less relaxed with how frequently we're scrimming and which maps we're scrimming as well. Because exactly. I think this is a very good point, that they clearly weren't prepared in the same way that Coreagaming was for this custom campaign.
Exactly. AI Tank making his second appearance of the total match so far. Unfortunately, it's looking very similar to the one on the last server where rocks are just being thrown, no damage is going out, but once again, mathematical impossibility is in play. So Kane's now crashing, and he's also leaving the server, and I'm just going to absolutely guarantee real quick that the match is going to be next weekend, but I do believe that's what we're headed for immediately, because I was getting a couple of questions about that. So I'll double check that while we're waiting real fast.
Kane has fully loaded in, and we are going live again. Final round of the final map of the final server of this first of two, or what will be two matches between these two teams in this grand final. WTF is Spongy. Credit to them. They are playing it out. And they are presumably going to be able to play through the rest of the map and keep a lot of this bonus, leaving the final score to be ultimately very close. Assuming they make it in with anywhere near this sort of bonus, they'll only be about 400 points in it. Oh, as Dave gets charged for 10.
Going with the shotgun.
But it is just the procession. At this point, I think both teams have realized, I'm sure they realized one map ago, that the result is foregone, and it is now a matter of resetting, getting the mental right, and getting ready for next week. or what will probably be next week. Just waiting for Rails to confirm.
From what I'm seeing, it's going to be next week, unless there's a radical change from both of the teams, but I'm fairly sure what we're going to see is a week for both teams to reset versus there being any other format that way. And because we're doing home and away, like there was an idea being thrown around whether we wanted to have the grand finals be best of 3 in some ways that way, where it's like, okay, you have a series then to play, but I'm fairly sure what we're sticking with is the classic format of the loser. If the losing... Okay, if the loser bracket champion wins the game, then everything resets to next weekend, basically, is what I think we're following. I'll double check that as we're going here, but that would make the most logical sense. There's this
I think that's a good system. I think it's a bit rough to make any player play 2 or maybe even 3 back-to-back home and aways in Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah. And I think that would just be an absolute marathon when it is home and away, because both these teams have fought so hard on both servers, too. It's going to be a very, very close final score, as you mentioned, but it's something that was already mathematically impossible and done by just an onslaught by Coreagaming this entire time, being that aggressive and having to be that aggressive. A little bit of damage going in there, but as we're continuing to work our way through the map, what else can we say except today was absolute history when it comes down to it, and I'm so excited to, like, it'll be something that, like, sends a reverberation through the community that way too, because it has been years since Team Where the Fuck is Spongy in whatever form have lost together that way, and I expect them, just because they are who they are and they've played this as long, they're going to come back with a better mentality next week, I think, probably just trying to make things as close as possible once they know the state of mind that they're going to be in, it's going to be about keeping that and just not feeling the pressure of the one game winner-take-all scenario, whether it's a home and away match or anything else. So I just cannot wait to see what happens.
Me too. I can't wait. As you said, I can't wait to see what map we end up playing next week. I'm almost certain it won't be Detour Head.
Exactly. I know we have a Y coming out, so that will be for next week, and we can put the official stamp on this, as Coreagaming are going to be the winners of the first game of what is now a 2-game grand finals in RBT6, handing Team Where the Fuck is Spongy their first loss in years of competitive play, 6,992 to 5,939. You already heard the hype explosion from us on the cast before, but now we can look at it again. Signed, sealed, delivered. Elliot, we will see this exact same matchup next weekend. This is utterly incredible.
I cannot wait. They lost! I'm still in shock. Great game from both teams. Hugely entertaining for the viewers. And wow, Coreagaming handing Frag4/WTF is Spongy /Rehab /Pubstar, whatever else you want to call them, their first loss, as my voice is well and truly going, in
I'm with you on that
several years.
Bro, this entire thing, like, I am so pleased to be extending RBT6 for that exact reason, and anybody who watches competitive Left 4 Dead 2, especially this far into the game's existence and this deep into the game's history, same thing, right? It's like, this is an absolutely monumental thing that is going to make this match next weekend the most hyped match that I can actually remember casting, because this is vengeance from Proven Kane, like I was saying, for what happened in the RBT5 Grand Finals when they were on Envy versus who were Frag4 at that time. But it's also a continuation of this now for Coreagaming, where they're trying to prove that they're the best team in the world and have been in that range for as long as they have, because they played in tournaments under different names too, and it's like, this is their chance now on this stage. It's a one match winner take all next weekend for the RBT6 title, and the title of who the best team in the world is. Exactly, yeah. BO1 now. It's a BO1, Elliot, and I'm so happy that we were able to cast this the exact way that we have, because I think we were expecting a really good game, but I don't think we like, for anybody looking for an upset that way, like, this is your absolute dream when it comes to competitive Left 4 Dead 2, and now because of how they looked in that game, I'm kind of with you on that, where I believe Coreagaming looked like the team who were more complete, and I can't wait to see what changes for next weekend. I just can't shut the fuck up about this because it's so amazing.
And no one is telling you to. This is the best.
This is the best.
I'm excited.
This is the best we've seen in this community, and I have absolutely, like, in absolute years that way, and now the hype for next weekend is going to be so real. The pressure is on it that way, and anybody who thinks that they should miss out on that match next weekend needs to. I'm going to be here absolutely no matter what happens. I will schedule whatever. Like, listen, this is for all the marbles that way, and it's coming at just an amazing point in time.
Oh, I mean, come hell or high water,
Hell or high
I
water,
will
we
be
will
there
back
right
here.
with you.
Exactly, yeah, because this has been just an utterly amazing sequence to watch. So thank you to everybody so far for watching this. I am so pleased to say we're extending this way, and shout out to both the teams that way, specifically to Coreagaming for playing one of the most superb matches that I've seen, if not one of the most superb performances in the history of Comp Left 4 Dead that way, by extension, too, because it's like that's the first time in years this has happened. Elliot, what else can we say?
I think you've said it all. The only other thing we can say is don't go too far. 1 week, we're going to be back here. Best of one. RBT6 Grand Finals, they're still going.
There's absolutely no way anyone would want to miss this, but thank you so much, Krycha, as well, for streaming this. The co-admins, the teams who are playing, everybody watching. This is why we continue to play and stream and cast and enjoy this game so deep into history, because there's absolutely nothing else like this that I've seen that way. So anybody looking for exactly the place to be next weekend, we'll let you know when that is as soon as the team scheduled the match. But thank you everyone so much for watching this. Shout out to the server admins, Lucky Lock for what he does, Pug, Sir, of course, for all the work he does for the community that way, all the streamers, co-casters, everyone who supported this far. It's gone from 72 teams as long as it has, and we have not yet found a champion. I absolutely love it. So unless you have any other final shout-outs, Elliot, I think we'll end this one and then immediately just join the hype train for next weekend.
Yeah, just very quick shout out, of course, to you, Rails, for being co-caster and fantastic admin caster for these final matches. And of course, thank you to Krycha. All our lovely viewers here, do give some props to Krycha. He does a lot of work streaming these matches. Our beautiful cameraman. If you want to send him some support, send him a donation, give him a sub. Give him a kiss for me. We love you, Krycha.
We've got the links for both Krycha's stream donation there too, and then also the Ko-Fi that is on, I think it's this Rails Barlow Left 4 Dead 2 that way too, on the side there. But at this point, like I said, everyone's showing up for everyone wants the hype. Everyone wants the hype.
I love it. I love it.
See you next week, guys.
Yeah, see you guys next weekend. Congratulations again to Coreagaming, and this is incredible. Have a great rest of your day.
GG's.